too early, but that's okay. My gym workout was phenomenal. Before I went home, I decided to stop over at my mother's house. I haven't seen my mother in 2 months. I know she's going to be very surprised to see me. I can't wait. What the? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The first thing I noticed was this person's skin. What is going on? Uncomplicated, untreated skin? Who is this guy? I had to take a step back, but then I realized it was my brother. But look at his skin. Have you guys ever seen anything like that? I had to take a closer look and figure out what was going on. Best believe I crept up on him. Peep this. I'm still looking at his skin, trying to figure out how did we get here. I could do nothing but shake my head. He could definitely use my help. I had to get to the bottom of this. He definitely needed some game about his skin. I'm just staring at it, like looking at it. Come on, bro. I knew what to do. I had to reach in my bag and get that Tej Hanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. Bro, this is why I'm excited to have Tej Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. They have helped me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and the grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My brother was so excited. My favorite part about Tej Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. Shout out to Tej Hanley. And because Tej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description, and not only will you get Tej Hanley for the best possible price, but they'll also give you a free gift with your first box. Click that link and get started today for just $30. Feel the Tej. Let the Tej force be with you.
That's right, family. Feel the Tej. Almost go time. Go time. What's going on, family? Welcome to Lapeef Sundays. We introduce the crew. We got Luis with the bruiser background. Coach K, Hit the Basement, the Real Precious, Dallas Coles, JS Story to Tell. Me, myself, I'm Lapeef J.I. Welcome to Lapeef Sundays. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Doing good. How y'all doing?
Perfect, bro. How about yourself?
So I went to the doctor and tested positive for that C.
Oh man.
So, when I was recovering, I'm cool. So my Super Bowl is gonna be segregated.
Ah, got you. That's whack.
Yeah, I know
That's
it
whack.
is.
Yeah.
But I'm here. The show must go on, as I say. The show don't stop the show. Rain, sleet, or snow.
Oh, that's right.
We're pushing. We keep pushing.
Yeah, I see you still repping though, even though our team's not in the same situation. But I love that. I love that.
This is the perfect. I probably like these glasses, but perfect opportunity to still shout out to the greatest team in the NFL, the Chicago Bears.
That's a Bears hat too.
Yeah.
That hat is fire, man.
Shit.
That joint is
Oh, man,
fire.
he repping all the way around, baby. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
all the way around, man. This is
memorabilia down.
Yeah, this is how you say it? This is when they come together.
An
It's a
ensemble.
store called Leaders. A store called Leaders, and so this is their version of the Chicago Bears hat that they did. So
yeah, that hat is fire,
See,
man.
Pressure, you
I
ain't right.
don't
Man.
hate.
Now go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
Nah, I said the hat is hot, man. I don't hate.
Yeah, but Precious was lightweight hating though. You know, he's been vulnerable, and he was lightweight hating on the brother.
I said it was an ensemble. You know, when the top matches, you know, that's all. I wasn't hating.
Okay.
Eagles still the best, but I'm just saying, you know.
Okay, here we go. Look at ready. Enjoy your moment now. Enjoy your moment.
She's
Shout out.
ready to go.
Malcolm X says, "Wearing Bears gear on a Sunday. This is nuts." Come on now. So you got to go against the grain. You got to go against the grain. I know the lady's not really except for Precious. I know Catch Key like, what is going on here? But I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in to Lapeef-ING Sundays. I know you guys got Super Bowl party to get ready for in a few. It's this evening, so it should probably got about 4 hours for us. Kickoff time, something like that. I want to say thank you guys for showing up. Maybe we'll do the 12 o'clock time moving forward. It's going to be the 12 o'clock time. Usually when football season starts, I try to go earlier before football. But since football season is about to be over, we'll go back to the 12 o'clock. Go ahead and get a couple hours in and then keep it pushing. Shout out to the sponsor, T Channel, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. Make sure you guys click that link, 30% off along with a free gift. Shout out to the sponsor, T Channel. If you want to become part of Green Gang, that link is pinned to the top of the chat. I see Marcellus is in the house. Mr. Renegade, Ed Hill, Ash, SD, DYT. These are all Green Gang. Mr. BX87. I do like to acknowledge them because they are members, and so they do get the special VIP treatment. Occasionally, I will highlight their comments, even though they don't super chat because they are members. So salute to the Green Gang again. If you want to become part of Green Gang, that link is pinned to the top of the chat right there. Thank everybody that's saying hope JR feels better. I'm actually feeling good. I'm feeling good right now. I know it may not sound like it, but I think Tuesday was rough. Wednesday was a little rough. Thursday was a little rough. But I got excited once I came on Thursday. Just something about you guys showing up every Thursday or every show, just showing up. It just always puts that fire in me. So I'm gonna be good. Man. I'm taking all my vitamins. Kelly's making sure I'm right, and Kelly has it too. Of course, it makes sense, right? So she's battling through it. So we kind of piggyback and taking care of each other on that note.
Time?
What was that?
Is this your first time?
You know, they said I had it before.
But
it's like a cold to me, but this time it kind of hit a little different. I don't believe in that V, in that jab.
Right.
I don't get the flu. I don't get fevers. So it was a little bit warm on Thursday, but I'm good, man. I'm good. Just keep pushing. So, keep me, you guys, in your prayers and whatever religion you believe in. Just put the fire on me. You know? My jokes. I don't have no jokes.
Luis, you got that holy
We
water?
got you.
You got that?
Yeah.
We got you.
I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm becoming delusional right now. So some of the things that roll off my tongue may not even sound right because what I just said didn't even sound right. But we're gonna keep it moving.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I thought it was fine. No, you're good.
Okay. All right.
Sending you some healing vibes.
I appreciate that. He said, "Congrats, Chico Bean." Okay. Chico Bean on the panel, I see. That was a joke too. But y'all just ain't getting it today, man. I know it's not me. I know it's not all me. I took a little bit of blame first, like 10% of the show, but now the other 90% is y'all, man. My shit is lit. My shit is funny. Epic.
You're funny. I'm still recovering from Sunday. I'm sorry, but I'm here and ready. Like, we good.
We're not gonna talk about Sunday. We're gonna leave that Sunday energy. That was his own energy that day. So we're gonna leave that last week. I'm pretty sure some folks probably showed up thinking it's going to be a repeat, but
I wasn't here, so I'll bring the newness, the
I heard about
recovery.
y'all. I heard about y'all energy on what was that, Fridays? I had y'all
Oh,
all energy on.
on me.
That's me.
So it just seemed to be something funny going on. But maybe if the team wins, then maybe the energy get a little bit better. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into our first topic of this early afternoon or morning for some folks. No, it's afternoon for everybody. Well, except for specific. I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm thinking too much. First topic is: can you have a future with someone if you can't see a future with someone? Can you have a future someone if you can't see a future with someone? Let's go ahead and dive into this. Luis, you cool over there?
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool.
Man, sitting in the cut, yo, waiting for the end of days, yo.
Yeah,
Hey
I
man,
know.
I think Luis is dealing with a
That's
migraine.
that
5 o'clock end of the day energy over there.
Yeah,
He got
he's
his
dealing with a
water
migraine.
stacked up. He got his food stacked up. He waiting for them to come, yo. I've been waiting for y'all.
Yeah, he's dealing with a migraine right now. Brother Luis got a migraine. He's trying to keep all that light.
We're recovering.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, let's go ahead and dive into who wants to tackle this first. Can you have a future someone if you can't see a future with someone? Is it possible? I'll call on somebody. Let me go ahead and go to Luis. Go ahead.
Can you have a future with someone without? I mean, I would like to think that circumstances change over time, right? There are plenty of people who are in the season of just being alone and not really looking for someone, or don't really see any type of future, or don't really have a future planned out. But you'll be in the right sort of circumstance or the right place, and you come across someone that make you rethink and reevaluate your life. Make you rethink about what type of future do you have? What does the outlook for the next couple of years are going to be? And I think that a lot of people, often than not, don't really have the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years really mapped out well enough. I think some people are really going from day to day, week to week, month to month, and not really mapping out what the rest of their life looks like and who's in their life. So I think it's rather difficult for them to kind of navigate to see who is going to be in their life, especially if it's going to be a significant other, or if marriage is even on the table, right? But I think that that's an individual conquest that one has to kind of go through and navigate through. I mean, I think a lot of people are still in a bit of a rat race, in terms of them trying to get situated with their finances or career, that they haven't really had a whole lot of time to think about what does that future person who's next to them, whether it be man or woman. And I think that's a byproduct of people getting too tunnel vision on things that are momentary and not really something that could be long lasting in the future, right? So I think too often a lot of things just evolve, and I think that you could find someone during the process that make you rethink and reevaluate what that future might look like. But I think for the most part, a lot of people are not really thinking about the long term.
All right. Go ahead and go to Precious. What are your thoughts about it? Can you have a future someone if you can't see a future with someone?
I think that you can have a future with someone even if you can't see the future. I'm not going to say a future. Everybody has a future. So if you can't see the future with someone, for me, this is where, your beliefs and, for me, it's Christianity. So, I can't see the future with anyone, but I can pray that things, are going to go well. I think this, people have to have a vision, men and women, not just the man. The man is not the only one with the vision. A woman has to have a certain vision too. I think the man perfects the vision, but this is where that comes into play because, it's how can you walk, how can two walk together if they don't agree? So, if there are certain things that you see in someone's life that doesn't agree with your life, then you already know that you don't have a future with them. So I think that you have to be aligned, spiritually in order to have a future with someone that you can't necessarily see the future. Um, but with that spiritual guidance, you're able to be guided towards the future with that someone. And if, it may not even be that someone, it may be someone else, but at least you have, again, that spiritual guidance to guide you, because none of us know the future. Something can happen to, God forbid, all of us tomorrow. So I think that spiritual grounding is very important. It's very important in my life. So.
Okay. Hank, let me go to you, sir. Can you have a future someone if you can't see a future with someone?
I don't think so. I mean, as Precious said, her show tomorrow is a vulnerability. Let me be vulnerable right now. I thought I could try to make a future with my ex, to the point I even got back with her for a couple years, but I just couldn't see that because of, due to the stipulations or requirements that I have that she wasn't gonna follow. So I didn't see a future in us, even though I continued to had a relationship with her. I just didn't see a future as far as us getting remarried. I just didn't. So I don't think you can. I mean, if it's just not there, it's just not there, man. I mean, don't ever try to force something. I don't think anybody should. Um, I know we got guys out here who are in relationships with a woman they may have a child with. Let me say this: don't get married just 'cause a kid. Don't let that be your reasons. It's got to be something deeper than that, more than that, and it's got to be more than just a kid. Because if that's the case, you're gonna spend 18 years of misery. If that's your only reason why you're doing it just for the kid, don't do that. I don't think it's a good investment. I mean, of course I did that, and it didn't turn out good for me. But you live and learn.
Okay. Miss Balance, what are your thoughts about it? Can you have a future someone if you can't see a future with someone?
I actually agree with Hank here. It's not possible to have a long-lasting, successful relationship with somebody that you can't see a future with. I could see why people have short-term relationships, because they knew from the beginning it wasn't going to work. And then they tried anyway, and they keep trying, and then they break up and get back together. Those people, they're like, oh, we were on and off for years, but they never successfully have a relationship. So I think that's a trap that a lot of people fall into when they're like, oh, we can make it work, even though we can't make it work. You can't. And I think you waste a lot of years and you waste a lot of time, and the kids suffer too, because they're watching you fight and argue. You don't belong together. Like, it's just better to cut your loss, walk away, and start new somewhere else. It's hard because a lot of people, they're like, I don't want to be single again in my 30s. I hear women saying that a lot, but sometimes you probably need to. And then we can see in the YouTube streets now why so many men are calling women leftover women and all of these things, to where women are afraid to start over. Men are afraid too, but sometimes you just got to start over. You got to start over and start fresh and start anew and get better. But you got to be better too. Work on yourself in your singleness. Work on yourself. If we do that, we can have better relationships. I'll leave it there.
Okay. Go to Coach K then, Jay. Coach K, what are your thoughts? Can you have a future someone if you can't see a future with someone?
Everyone already said good points. I would say you can have a future someone, but it's just not. Sorry, that almost started. But it's just not going to be with that person. But what comes to mind is why, though? Why can't you see a future with that person? That would be interesting to know, so you can take that with you with your next relationship. Maybe be more selective, but also too, are you refusing? Are you even looking into the future to see? Because some people aren't intentional either. They're just going with the wind, wasting time. And I think a lot of young people do that, just seeing how long it'll last. And it's like, well, if you want marriage, you should be having those conversations, and that's for the future in the long term. But I would say generally no, but you're going to have to make that decision or look into it when you can't see a future with that person. So, but it doesn't mean you can't have a future anyone, I would say, but Those are just my thoughts.
See, it's a tricky question. And I would agree with Lewis the way he described it, based on the way I understood the question, which is asking, can the future even be possible if you don't see the person, if the person isn't in the arena, or you don't have any prospects? Or that's how I understood the question. Like, is a future relationship, marriage, is that even possible if there are currently no prospects? That's how I read the question. And I think it's definitely possible, because people come into your life and do some amazing things. You never know, like one day you could feel one way about somebody, and then, I kind of call it God in some ways, because you were hard body, had these ideals about, circumstances and what you would never do. That's why you hear people say never, because you never know what you will be opened up to, or the possibilities based on who comes into your life. And it's the craziest ways they come into your life. Like some of the people that I've dealt with, it was like crazy how it happened. It was just random, me running errands in a post office, and I'm looking behind me, and we catch eyes, and then boom, this is somebody that's in my life for a period of time. It ain't last, but you just never know. So if that specific person comes into your life, you will make concessions, you will change, and allow them to be a part of it, and make arrangements so that there is a future. So I think you can be rigid in your ideals, but never sever the possibility. You know what I mean? That's not living.
That's a great point, Jay, because that's actually exactly what happened with me and my husband. He had, I say this all the time, I was being a monster. I was blaming everyone else for what I was doing, for my feelings, putting all these expectations on him. And it wasn't fair to him. And he ended up deciding to leave. But I was already figuring out, self-awareness and, just reflecting and things like, well, ultimately what coaching. And I changed so much that, he decided to give me a chance, and I had to be willing to show him and be okay with him, being worried if I actually was going to change and he was going to last. But we were broken up 6 months, and we've been together ever since. We've been together about 6 years now. So it can happen, but that person has to be willing, which of course it's a risk. Absolutely. But that other person has to take accountability. And I did. I took full accountability for everything. So it can happen.
But did the time apart give you enough insight to reflect on what you have and what you were potentially going to lose?
Yeah, I would say it did for sure. But it came at a time when I was already figuring out that I needed to change. And I was already, changing in little ways, but it was too late. And he just needed that time. But I was growing enough that I was like, I understand. And I just wanted him to be happy at that point. I loved him so much, but I didn't want him to be unhappy with me if that was the case. So I was willing to sacrifice, like, if he didn't want to get back together or whatever, if that answers your question. Oh, I knew what I was going to lose for sure, but it was my fault. So I couldn't really I couldn't really be mad or anything like that.
Anybody else want to add anything else to it? I got a question go ahead, Jay.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and if you're looking for that future someone, definitely try to pinpoint whether they're living or surviving. I think a lot of times living is making plans 5 years, 10 years, and surviving is just trying to get through the week. If you're living, and they're surviving, they're gonna they're gonna drop bombs on your life, yo, because you're gonna be constantly putting out fires that living week to week bring. Well, excuse me, surviving week to week bring. So you have to definitely identify what that is, yo, because the recovery is real.
Yeah, but that kind of goes back to what I said originally. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are not really thinking like I'm looking for this specific type of person, this archetype of person. They, you know what I'm saying, in their minds, they're just, you know, going with the wind or going with the flow, you know, whatever comes, right? Nobody's really kind of thinking about what that person is going to be like, you know, at what point in their life they're going to be introduced to them, right? I think a lot of people are caught in that sort of in between, that sort of interstitial space in their life, that they don't take a moment to kind of reflect, you know, what that person might bring and where. Because I've seen people who say like, oh no, like I have a specific type, and they end up falling in love for the person who's the total opposite of what they wanted to begin with, right? Like this person is the total 180 of what they wanted, but because they showed up in a particular type of way in their life and in the right season, like it was a game changer. So, yeah.
I think that's why it's important to always be on your purpose too. Because if your purpose is to find someone, you're going to find someone, but if you're moving in your purpose, then a future with someone moving in their purpose wouldn't necessarily be something that you can't see, because you can see how you can intertwine your visions. So, women always, focus on men, or, I need to find a man, and that's cool and all. But if you're focused on your vision, then a man will see you working in your capacity of your vision and see where he can, again, perfect that vision. So, I think being purpose led and spirit led and purpose driven helps that future come together between two people. I just wanted to add that.
And I think that was one thing me personally took a long time to learn. You know what I mean? Because I would find somebody and then I would compromise my purpose because that person was in my life. You know what I mean? It took a long time for me to figure that out. And I think, for younger guys, have your vision. The scenery is the scenery. Stay on that highway, and deal with, make them adapt. Don't go off course. Make concessions, but don't go off course.
Because that's going to act as your backdrop, which is going to help you make the decisions that will lead to that point. But if you're just making decisions willy-nilly, what's that outcome ultimately going to be? And it's easier. We have so many choices, nowadays, and then also choices on how to make a choice about who we're dating, from technology and all the apps and things like that. But it's easier when you know where you're going, and that's, your backdrop for making the decision. It's much easier and you're more effective that way. You're not wasting time with people are not going to align with where you want to go. So
I agree. And people, they don't know what they want because they don't have a list. And I talk all the time about having a non-negotiable list. There's a difference between a non-negotiable list and preferences. Preferences, okay, those are things that maybe I could take this, maybe I could, compromise with certain things about looks and height and, superficial things. Those are preferences, right? You could compromise on those. But your non-negotiables are things that you need this person to have. And those things you really can't compromise on. And a lot of people, they don't have this list. So that's why they don't know who to choose. Like if you actually made a list, a lot of people, they don't fit on that list. So automatically you wouldn't even date that person. So you got to start there with knowing what your non-negotiables are and things that you're not going to accept. So I just want to say that.
And why those are your non-negotiables. Make sure you like your reasons, and you even have a reason, not just because it's someone else's reason for what they want in a man. Why? That's another thing. Sorry.
I got a question. So, do you typically see the future with someone when you first meet them? Does it take some time? Do you have to talk to them? Is it a discovery? I heard somebody mention, like Jay said, sometimes, and I think Louise said it too. Sometimes you just don't know. It just pop up like, damn, like I think this might be the one, right? I could see a future with them. So, is this something that you will see when you first meet them, or is it something that you learn at a different time based off you guys conversing?
I think men know it before women do. I think, because men are always planning for their life. And so when they come across a woman that is not necessarily a part of their future, not saying that they will or won't stay too long, because some men stay too long, some men don't stay long enough. But I think that men can see a future with a woman before a woman can see a future with a man. If I'm making any sense, guys. Just because men, again, they just plan their lives and they know what they want for their lives, and we come on and we enter their lives. So they have to know if we're a good fit for it or not. We have to know too, but women, you just have to, be a good woman. But men, to me, typically know, oh, she's not like the rest of them. I can definitely see her in my life. I can definitely see a future with her. Or they know she's like the rest of them. So I don't see a future with her. I'm just, playing with her. So I think men know that way before women do.
Yeah, I don't know if we, as far as men on first sight, that we know for sure. I mean, she's gonna have to be really phenomenal and just show herself all in within a day or two, or at least an encounter or two, or whatever the case may be, for a man to know that fast. Maybe younger me, I probably thought she was the one fast, and that might have been my mistakes, and me not looking more in depth at a individual. 47-year-old Hank, no, there's no way I could just, on the first 2 dates, that I can realize, oh, that she's the one. Now she may show some potential, and that's a great thing. But as far as labeling her the one on 2 or 3 dates, one to the coffee shop, or maybe that 5-star Michelin restaurant, you never know, maybe.
So
Got our coffee date, Hank?
No.
Yes. I said the first 2. I said the first was a coffee date, did the 5-star Michelin restaurant, but it depends on if she's gonna let me finish. It depends on that too. Man, can I finish? And if she won't let me finish, then we ain't gonna make it regardless.
So Hank,
So go ahead, Ms. Mattis.
With you saying that, what were the attributes that your current woman had that you knew, like, you wanted to be with her?
Oh, well, the current woman, I met her in the cafeteria in college at Murray State. I mean, so what she had long, pretty hair. She didn't have no makeup on. She was tall. She was 5'7". You know what I'm saying? She was very sexy and beautiful. And this was in her natural state. So I can imagine what she looked like when she did get dolled up. That was one of the things. She was very goal-oriented. She was about her education. All of those things, I'm like, okay, she has a lot of potential. Now, unfortunately, it didn't happen then because she was in a relationship already. So we just became friends. So we just developed our friendship from there, and I definitely try to stay in touch, with her even afterwards. But of course, it was a different scenario because when she graduated, she got married, and so she moved on, and I was continuing to be single. But we still kept in touch from a distance, just not in that same type of capacity as it was. But the gods blessed us with another opportunity, and it just went from her. So, but yeah.
Here's something interesting. I think we hit on all these different interesting points, but I think the one that I think we kind of skated around was you know, when someone comes into your life and they're everything you ever thought you ever wanted and imagined, but you're just not in the right space or the right mindset to embrace and accept that person into your life at that very moment. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that come across those types of people. That person that's like really willing to work with you, build with you. They're in that season, the right mindset, the right attitude. They're very positive in every attribute, but you're just in some sort of funk or in some sort of clouded state of mind where you're not ready to fully embrace or accept that person into your life, or or allow them to help you navigate out of that funk, right? I think that right there, I think happens a lot more often than we like to kind of contribute.
That I'm glad you said that, because
You're
that's
right.
a fact. That's a fact. Oh my God.
Like King said, the girl went and got married. It's like that. We can't even be together now. You married now.
Yeah.
But things don't happen that way where, now you got a second chance, and now time has passed as well. So you have to take that into consideration. So I think Lewis definitely hit it on the nail on the head on that one.
Yeah, in that situation, I would have been good for it at that moment. I just wouldn't. I mean, I was a man whore, and I had 3 different other relationships going on at the same time. So no, that if I got with her, then it wouldn't end well, and we probably wouldn't have the friendship that we have now if I got with her at that moment. Like, I mean, as far as a serious relationship. So thank God that didn't happen the way I probably wanted to at the time, but thank goodness it didn't. Because now she's got the best man ever right now. You know.
I love that. And I think it is true that some men do take longer to mature into that great man. You know what I mean? They may not be that great man at 22, 25, but then later on, when you run into them, they're a whole different creation. And they'll treat you way differently than they would have 10 years ago. So I've definitely seen that a lot as well. So yeah, I'm happy to see that.
The things that make a man attractive take time to acquire. You know, that's mentally, spiritually, financially, and every asset. So it's not only one category. So
Yeah, I think the things that you need, well, I speak for myself, the things that I need to see to determine if someone is marriage material is not something that I'm gonna see within a few dates. Like, and as of right now, I've never seen it be revealed so abruptly. Like, I'm sure there are people, I've heard of people that have been on like first and second dates and they felt that they just knew and they're still married to this day. But, a lot of those things that I might need more time to find out about, may have been revealed to them. The floodgates open and they saw all these things like, wow, this is who I've been waiting for. So those things were revealed a lot quicker, whether it be what they're attached to, what their family life, what's their relationship with their mother, their father, a lot of that stuff matters long term, you know. So it and that takes time to get revealed. That's something you have to observe. So I don't think, I just can't jump out there like that. Some people, they have that ability and they're, I call it courageous in some aspects to be able to just say, you know what, let me just take this chance, but I'm not built like that.
Do you think that somewhat could be faith? Because to me, I think God speeds up time, but that's just for me. But you also have to believe that too. So do you think that some people have a certain faith and that's why they're able to just say, you know what, this is the person for me?
I
And they
think
build
part
off of that faith?
I think part of it is faith. And I think part of the things that they feel they need to make that determination have possibly been revealed to them. So they feel comfortable just being vulnerable and taking that chance. But yeah, I do think there's a degree of faith. Absolutely.
I like what Anton said about us needing to spend time around each other, around each other's friend groups, going out like that, and dealing with people in your social circle, because dating could be such a facade. Everybody wants to put their representative out there. And like Hank was saying, maybe they want to wear makeup, and maybe they want to just, pretend they're something they're not. And I think we see that a lot. So I don't really agree with dating at all. It just doesn't work. And we can see in society, it's not working. People are lying and then they're breaking up. So to answer your question, JR, that you put in the chat, I don't really agree with dating. I think you guys should observe each other in your lives and your social circles, and go out with each other's friends and see how each other interacts. Like, it's just a way easier way, a more natural way to get to know somebody than trying to date their representative and go to fancy restaurants and dress up. Like, it's like you putting on a show doing that. Like, what are y'all doing, playing dress up? Like, I don't understand that dynamic. I don't want to dress up and wear heels and a dress and makeup and meet you at a 5-star, 3-star restaurant, whatever. It just seems very not realistic to me. And that's why those situations don't last. Like, I want to hang out with you and your friends. I want to go to the park. I want to meet your family, your brothers. I want to hang out. Like, why does it have to be some weird, like, interview? So I don't know. I think we need to be more natural with the way we're interacting with each other to have more natural, long-lasting results, if that makes sense. But
don't you think that it's like society that's kind of putting that kind of pressure on people? Like, it's like, okay, by this point in your life, you need to be at this point, and you need to have this done, or you need to have this accomplished, right? So a lot of people have a representative because they are falling behind on where they're supposed to be, or where the perceived notion of where their life is supposed to be heading, but they're not really there yet because they haven't checked off all these other boxes of self-development or self-improvement, right? And I think that people tend to do that in order to blend in, to give the facade and the idea that they're actually up to par with their counterparts, not really realizing that they are where they're supposed to be. It's just that everybody's race or everybody's journey is just not the same, and that was where that comparison parallel starts to kind of take place.
I think you hit it on the head, and I want to respond to you to say anything society's doing, I want to do the opposite. Because society's trash. Like, why do I want to do what the majority's doing? Anything the majority's doing, I want to do the opposite. Society tells us to overspend, to overeat, to get into debt. Like, society is telling you to do everything that's bad for you, for your mental health, for your physical health, for your spiritual health. That's what society tells you as a whole. So if we continue to follow society, it's going to be in ruins, like our society right now, like the culture right now. So we have to go against the grain. I think anything society is telling us to do the opposite. That's honestly how I live my life. I live my life opposite of the majority. So you got to go against the grain sometimes. Sometimes you got to be the black sheep. Sometimes you have to stand out and do different things. Like JR just said, he doesn't want to take vaccines. If he would have said that a year ago on this platform, people in the chat would have went crazy, telling him how crazy and stupid he is for saying that. So really, we really have to really think for ourselves, have common sense, and really search for what matters to us, not what society tells us. That's it.
I also think an issue comes in when you're comparing and then you look at what's going on around you and you make that mean that something's wrong. Like, if you're working towards something, of course you're at where you're at. Like, nothing's wrong with that. You know, if you're training for a marathon and you can't make it past 2 miles, why are you comparing yourself when, of course, like, you're just now starting to train? Like, it's not going to be pretty. That's why the long-term goal is your backdrop, because that's where you're going. If you know that's where you're going today, not being able to run past 2 miles doesn't mean anything like negative about you. You're on your way. It's, you know, they say journey is made up of 1,000 little steps, you know?
I think everybody, I didn't expect it to go like that, but everybody chimed in with some unique perspectives. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to LAPEEF-ING Sundays. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor, Teach Henley again, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. We did have some super chats. some reason my thing not clicking. There's some super chats that came through. So let me go ahead and acknowledge them. Sorry, my mouse is acting up right now. Enos Luby said with the 179 says she said pray.
Shody.
Oh, sorry, my damn. Hold on, let me figure this out. My damn mouse seems to be acting up here.
And just that example right there. If Precious said pray, then if she wants to be a Christian woman, then she'll be with a Christian man. Like, don't try to put what you think matters on her. Like, if that's how she lives her life, that's how she lives her life. You know, she's gonna be equally yoked with a man that believes how she believes.
Hold on, Precious. You saying you wouldn't hook up with a heathen?
We're all heathens.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Ain't none of us arrived.
Okay.
We're all imperfect.
Precious, I can rock with you, baby. I can rock
Yeah.
with you. That's what I'm talking about. We all heathens.
We all heathens.
You just got to get right. That's all. My man JR got right last Sunday. Unfortunately, he didn't bring it back with him.
I heard that, Hank. My apologies, man. I don't know what's going on. My responses, clicking is not seem to be acting up right now.
You use an Apple or a PC, JR?
No, I got Apple. I don't know what's going on, but it's happening on my computer too. So,
yeah, Apple's trash. I say it all the time. Apple was trash.
I love Apple.
Yeah, Apple is dope, man. NS Ruby 179 says, "Big up Louise for the elevated music in the background." Man, this is crazy. That's a big super chat, and I can't even click it. There it is, right there. Dedicated to my children. Sunday energy, respect to the panel in the chat. This ain't gonna work right here, man. I don't know what's going on.
You want to do them later?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it later, but I got a clip I want to play as well, which is gonna mess me up. It just happened. I don't know what's going on. It's like it's a delay, and every time I keep double clicking, then I'm clicking something else.
You need a new battery in your mouse?
No, it's a rechargeable battery. I think we're all good right now. I think it might have smoothed out now. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what happened, man. It's that Sunday energy. I guess it's going too slow. They wanted me to speed it up a little bit. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. My apologies on the super chat. I think I might have missed one. If I did miss any, I might have accidentally clicked it off. Salute to you if you did donate. We had another one that came through. Says Ronnie 499 also remember says I need balance and code mixed with a little bit of Coach K and the side of Precious. So definitely you guys have some fans out there. Salute to you. Let's see if there's anybody else who might have missed. Uncle Stepdaddy 499. Did I read this already? What's good, everyone? I wish I could join the panel.
I still want to know Uncle Stepdaddy's real name for some reason, because I'm so curious. I don't know why.
Yeah, he's a pretty dope individual. Very honored. I got to highlight this one again because I ain't highlighted right, but dedicated to my children future. Salute to you again. Appreciate you. I think I might have got all the super chats. So let's go ahead and keep it moving. I did want to briefly, I didn't get this one. This might be the one. Interracial relationships, sex, dating, marriage. $5 says more people try choosing who to live with instead of choosing who to die with. A big difference in just being married versus being in a marriage.
Well said.
That's real talk right there.
I think that's all of them. Again, if I missed you, my apologies. Everything seems to be cooking right now. Thank you guys that has super chatted. I want to get briefly into this. We ain't got to spend too much time, but just curious about this Nia Long situation. She came out saying that her boyfriend said she had a boyfriend who was 30 years old when she was in high school. Did y'all hear that?
Like, I wasn't the girl that ever went to prom. Like, my boyfriend was 30 when I was in high school. I know my mother was crazy, but you know what? I would never, ever let I mean that in a good way. Like, she was an artist. She was like, well, if that's who you love, baby. And he was so good to me and kind and like, you right? And he did it the right way. He went to her, he was from Oman. He went to her and he said, I love your daughter and I want to date your daughter. And he asked permission. Look at your face. You're like, that ain't happening with my baby.
She said that he did it the right way.
Damn.
In high school, which I guess most of the men, they don't do that right. Most of the men that's over the age just speaking to these high schools, they don't ask permission, but they did. Maybe that's what they did back then. I don't know. Let's briefly talk about this because I've seen this when I was in high school. There was a lot of grown folks that was at the prom. There was a lot of grown folks that was at the prom, and it seemed like it was some fascination with the younger women, but it's all strange. And it came left, especially from like Nia Long. You probably wouldn't expect those things. I mean, she is a public figure, so only reason why we kind of focusing on her. But when I heard that, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. So what do you guys' thoughts? We ain't got to spend too much time on it. I just wanted to get some immediate reactions.
Yeah, 30, that's an extreme though, ain't it, JR?
Yeah, that's it. It's not like he was in college or something.
Yeah, that's different because
like
college or jailhouse tattoos.
Well, look here, man. Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, bro.
No.
Now, what I was gonna say is, I found it amusing that she was sitting down and had this interview, and these people was laughing and thought it was funny and amusing and entertaining. Now, if that was me, as a 47-year-old man going out and getting a 17, 18-year-old girl, I would have been crucified. There's no way they would have been laughing at me. That's no different from what Robert Kelly did. And they found that amusing, but they crucified this man for doing the same damn thing. I don't see the difference. That just shows that's another standard of double standards. People, hey, when it's appealing to someone they like, are they gonna agree with? They okay with it. But if it's someone they have issue with, then it's a problem. Again, if that was a man, they would have called him a predator. So,
I think somebody in the chat says that she's 53. Is she 53?
Yeah. I was gonna ask how old was she at the time, like specifically. Was she 16? Was she 17? Like, I was gonna ask that because for a mother, I mean, like Hank said, imagine if, you swap out Nia Long for a 30-year-old male on that same exact panel we just saw her on. And the male said, yeah, I dated a high school girl, I went to her mom and her dad and I said, I'd like to date your daughter. I'm gonna take good care of her. Imagine if like an actor or like Chris Rock, just a random black actor went up there and said that. They would have gotten crucified no matter how the procedure went in terms of, can I date your daughter, how polite they were. That would have been a whole different news story, versus them sitting up there giggling about it. And I think we're gonna see they try to flip this around a lot, in terms of older men dating. And I don't mean just younger women, you know what I'm saying? Most men date younger, but I'm talking about like that predatory distance of age, where you're talking about 40s and 17, the Leonardo DiCaprio type of situation that they've been talking about in the news. They're going to try to flip this around to make it seem acceptable. They're going to sprinkle a little caveat in there that makes it appear like, well, he talked to the mom and the mom was okay with it. And him and the father are good buddies. They play golf. It's not acceptable, yo. I mean, I know this is something that happened, but think about it. Think if you have a girl that's like 18, 17, 18 years old, right? Say if the parents or the family is in dire straits, they're not financially set. And then here comes this multi-millionaire that wants to date their daughter. In most cases, in a trailer park situation, they're gonna turn a blind eye to it or be accepting of it because they feel like that's something that could benefit them socially, economically. But the only person that's suffering is the child, essentially, because she is still a child. I mean, she has the ability to make choices, but in some capacity, she's still a child. What do they have to talk about? When they sit down at the table, what is the conversation? You know what I mean? So I
Where
think
did
you're
they
gonna see.
meet? Go ahead, Jay. No,
Right.
go ahead, Jay.
No. You good. I was done.
Something I was going to ask is, what does the mom being an artist have to do with anything? Like, like I understand where she's getting at, like free spirit, whatever. But this is your child that you're raising, and there's things called morals. I didn't know art changed that. I just think it's weird. Because this conversation could get really deep. So many different things, we could discuss, but I'm just wondering where they even met to begin with for a 30-year-old. And can we confirm she was 18, or do we know? Does anyone know? I'm gonna look into it.
But Coach K, even if she was 18, I done seen on some panels where it doesn't matter. He's still wrong for that.
Oh, right. It's the moral, legal,
they said it was still wrong for an 18-year-old to be dating a 30-year-old be dating an 18. That's still a 12-year gap. That's four high school classes.
So what do you guys think is like an acceptable age gap in your opinion?
I will say
5, maybe 10, maybe.
Well, like I think it starts once they're grown.
Yes.
Once they turn, like I would say, the age of like 21.
Yes.
That's when I think you can start. See, I just had this conversation, and one of the things that I said was, I think 5 is a good number. I think 5 years is a good number, because even if you think about it, you think about somebody that's dating somebody 10 years older. As you guys keep getting older, that person is going to tremendously has the possibility of slowing down, of being a completely different person because they're 10 years ahead. I think the closer you are, the more understanding you have, because your bodies are aging together. And I think the outlook is a little bit different. But people that try to dip down, that say that they're their age, like 54, and they're trying to date somebody that's 30, it's not going to work out. I have an uncle that's like that. He dated somebody, but I think he was just looking somewhere he had a child with her, and then somewhere to kind of dump whatever it is that he had, kind of pass it along to somebody. I mean, I think that's what his goal was, because he slowed down. And I'm not saying that she looks miserable or anything like that, but you can just see the difference. Like, he can't move the same way that she can move. So I'm going to answer that question 5 years.
I think that age gap should come into play when they're old enough to rent a car. What is a car rental? What are they, like 25, 24, 25? Like, that is in place for a reason, I don't know what reason, but that's in 25, but
I do got to put this in there too. In some other countries, I think that they do things at a younger age. So I think here in America, I think we run things a little bit differently. So over there,
her mom is from a different country as well, so that could play a part in why she allowed it.
You know what's so interesting? Like, we have this conversation about age gap dating, and yet at 18 you could be in the armed forces, you could smoke. At 21 you could buy booze, right?
In America.
Vote at 18.
And vote at 18, right? Which is a serious privilege, and at 25 be able to rent a vehicle from any established business enterprise. So we say that these people are young, but yet we give them so much power and autonomy at a perceived young age, right? From voting to smoking to all these other recreational activities. So at what point do we really start to kind of separate the cord and say that these are full-fledged adults making adult-like decisions? I get the whole, she's in high school and he's 30. I think that's very predatory in a way. But I mean, if we really, really look at the numbers and look at people who are getting married, 34% of all marriages are people who are within 1 or 2 years of each other. You know, once you get into like 4 or 5 year gap, that's like 12%, and then it just keeps going down. So that like 10 plus 15, that's a very small pool of people who are even within that range. And I think that it's just more of an allure, a temporary allure that people kind of gravitate to. They, you know, he's much older, much wiser, and I can understand why that's so appealing to young women, especially, you know, young women who might not had a very positive, you know, male presence in their life, right? Because I'm sure any father, prudent father in that situation would be like, no, this is not happening. I'm cutting this right here, right? So back to that, like that age thing, it's like, you know, at what point do we really, really kind of cut the cord at saying that these are adult people making adult decisions, since we've given them so much power and autonomy at such a young age?
I think it depends on the intentions as far as just the marriage and stuff goes. I mean, sometimes in this conversation, I think of like maybe, you know, towns or, I mean, I went to an all girl high school, so it was different with as far as dating goes. I mean, you know, there was the guys' high school, but, you know, with the senior dating the freshman or dating like the 8th grader, whatever. But I'm imagining, let's say a guy is getting his master's and he's on campus and meets his wife and she's a sophomore. So he's already graduated. He's going to be much older. But I think it just depends, again, on the intention of what they're going for. And if they have some type of plan. But it's like these days, I mean, I don't know if I could talk because I don't have kids, but it's like you don't even have adults, at least mentally and emotionally adults, raising adults. You know what I mean? So it's like these, I think if parents would be parents, it'd probably be a different conversation, but that's just wishful thinking. So I don't know if that even answers it, but.
Yeah, I think intent matters a lot too, because even Nia Long, like she said, she dated this man, so they didn't marry, right? Like, what was the purpose of this? It was just a situation that ended when she was in high school. Like, I'm so confused. So this 30-year-old man that you did whatever with, he didn't marry you. So what was his intent for one? Some men say I want a younger woman because she's fertile. She, you know, she could raise my family. We could have children. They didn't do any of that. You didn't marry her. You didn't produce any children with her. So what were you doing with this younger woman? I just don't, the logic isn't there for me. So I don't really understand that. I'm not against men saying they want a younger wife because they want fertility and all these things. But to go to high school and then you didn't even marry her, that doesn't make sense in my brain. So I don't know.
And then you'll see people laugh about that. That's comical. But I've seen a 19-year-old get persecuted for dating a 17-year-old. Like, you know, once upon a time, they were freshman and junior, sophomore and senior, you know, and then once you take it out of there, you know, you watch them get persecuted for that in that little window. But they're trying to make it acceptable. And I mean, you know, it's almost like, what's the balance? Because in some cultures, you know, there's a rite of passage in terms of you're the man, you have to come to the family and take the wife, you know, show that you're worthy to take the wife away from the father, you know. So when you kind of mix those cultures, it's like you might have a lot more situations like that. So how do you deal with them, especially if there's like a huge age gap?
All right. I think we might anybody else want to chime in on this?
Everybody's so peaceful today. Go ahead, Precious.
I think, you know, when I don't remember when Nia Long when her whole career started. I'm pretty sure not in high. Was she in high school? Was she not in high school? I don't know. Was it after that? Her stepsister is some
Yeah,
more.
she was.
It was in high school. So you have to understand that she and I'm not saying that it was right what the dynamic that they had, because it was a dating dynamic. But nowadays you hear men saying that they want younger women, right? We want younger women, we want younger women. Whatever age that is whatever age that is. And most times women will date up. Well, when you date too far up, your outlook on men, your outlook on being in relationships with men, I think are more warped when you go as far up like that. Because, like you guys were saying, at some point, that man slows down. He's not going to be, moving like you're moving. You're not going to desire him anymore, because now he's gonna be an old man and not just your man. He's gonna be your old man, so he's not gonna look the same. Things probably not gonna work the same. So when when you date too far up, as a woman, you have to definitely take that into consideration. You have your youth, you have your beauty, and it's going to fade at some point, but his is fading a lot sooner. Um, and like Coach K said about morals, it's like 30 in a high schooler, and this don't only happen with older men and younger women. This happens with older women and younger men. There's a lot of younger men who the first time they had sex was with an older woman. If people want to really, really keep it real, like it was with an older woman. And so now they got that itch, and they, you know what I mean? They start having sex all over the place. But that older woman kicked that off. She knew what she was doing. She knew what she wanted. She knew you was young enough to do it better than her old ass man. Like, so, we gotta, when you talk about age and coming together and things like that, you have to keep all of these things in consideration. I think, the age groups that y'all gave the gaps is more realistic,
So one thing to note, that Nia Long's mother had her when she was 22. So by the time Nia Long was 17, her mom was 39. So she was 9 years older than the gentleman that she allowed to date her daughter. So stop and think about that. That they're in that same generation, same kind of age group, right? Where your mom is literally 9 years older than the man that she allowed you to date.
Which is crazy. And he came to her. What man is going to go to someone's mother unless the father is deceased? But her father, they got divorced. Her mom and dad got divorced very early on in her life. So, coming to ask the mom he probably was laughing at that himself, because he know what he doing. And he probably thought he was doing the right thing, but at the end of the day, we're your uncles. We're the minute. I know you're not going to step to them saying that you want to date Nia Long. So it was like you taking advantage of the whole situation, not just Nia. You took her mom being an artist and open and free spirited, and that's not always a good. That's why that morals and art don't sometimes go together. Because morals, you have more structure. You're on a lockdown a little bit more than an artist is, who's free, who needs to explore, who needs to, do their research.
Anything goes.
Anything goes.
Well, I think the reason why he probably had to come to her, because she was too young. He had to get permission. He probably realized, if I don't get the okay, then how's it going to look legally? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, how's the law going to perceive me? I could sit there and say, well,
they may not know he got permission.
Well, but they could speak on, on his behalf, say, hey, we did give him the okay. Mm-hmm. The mother could say, I did give him the okay to date my daughter, even though she was underage. I mean, unfortunately, you have that. They can do that.
Yeah, depending on the state too, because the laws vary from state to state. So, yeah, in terms of what is consensual.
Yeah, just men out there, just be careful. Just make sure you ask for some ID these days. It's crazy out there. I don't have that appetite To be honest, I can't. It's just as you get older, they just start to look more and more like babies, even though they're adults. So that's just how my mind is. I'll only speak for myself. So it's not a turn on for me. Like
If you're too young enough to know Candy Rain, you don't qualify.
And the brain is still developing, you know, up into like your mid-20s. Like these women, their brain is still developing. Like they're literally not fully mature mentally. So I mean, just take your time. I mean, I'm okay with a little bit of an age gap. Like I don't mind that 4 to 5 years, because you know men tend to like that, and I'm okay with that. But when we're going 10 and all that, that's weird.
I'm trying to figure out what's the conversation. What we're gonna talk about?
So let me.
You talking about politics. You're thinking about politics, and some type of 401k benefits and all that. 16, 17, 18, she's not thinking about that.
You got little activists running around now. But not before. Yeah, you're right. And things are trivial almost too. Like the things that, which isn't wrong, but when you're that age, you worry about things that you know when you're older really don't matter.
So let me ask you a question, balancing. Would you have an issue with 40-30?
You know what? The woman is 30, the man is 40? No. Actually, no. Actually,
okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a cutoff point where we kind of perceive that different than, 17 to like 28, almost 30 in that range. It's, I guess the general consensus, be past a certain age threshold for it to be reasonable, to say the least.
so you just gotta live a little bit of life, and once you reach age 30, then
yeah, 30, you're a grown woman. So yeah, I don't know. It's different than 21 and 20. 30, you're a grown woman. Your brain's fully developed. You went through life experience. If you can't figure it out at 30, get a therapist. But I think 30 is fine. I'll say that.
All right, let's go ahead and keep this moving. Guys, just tune in. Welcome to Lapeef Sunday. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got a few super chats. Uncle Stepdaddy 199. So remember, says Sky Daddy messing with JR Computer. Sharon Thomas $5. Also remember, says only women have the liberty to say something like that with no consequences. If this was a man, he would be canceled by now. That's absolutely correct. That's how the world is, man. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic before we get to the meat of the conversation. This one is this is why marriages fail. I do have two videos. One is an old school that came across today that I'm gonna play in, and then the other one is something that's a little bit more recent. So here we go.
1 of every 3 marriages in this country, black or white, ends in a divorce in 18 months. Now, you see, it used to be if you got divorced, something was wrong with you. But when you have a stat this high, something must be going on in society. I now want to explain what that is. When America believed in agriculture, America believed in extended family. When America believed in the factory, industrialism, America believed in the nuclear family. But now that America believes in the computer, now America believes in a single-parent family. Make sure you see my analysis. When the economy changed, the family structure changed. There was more than love in these relationships. There was some money involved here. Our grandparents worked the fields together, had economic reason to stay together, and so they did. In a factory, man works in factory, woman takes care of children. Economic reason again to stay together. But in this new economy, where you now have women working just as much, if not more, than men, you now hear women telling men, I don't need you, got my own job. Do what I want to do when I want to do it. And we are now doing it very well and by ourselves. You know the #1 song in America a couple years ago, ain't nothing going on but the rent. If you want to be with me, you got to have a job. It's all about money. All about money. When the economy changed, the family structure changed. And so now we have a lot of people making plenty of money and lonely.
So I do have another video to play, and he's coming from a different angle as to why marriages are failing. I'm going to play this.
Everything you found out up to that wedding day is just what got you to the altar. Everything you about to say I do to is what you don't know. So this is why more than 50% of the marriages end in divorce, because they have no idea that the commitment they're making is not to what they do know about this person. It's what they don't know about this person.
Damn.
Okay.
Who put the Kevin Hart damage?
Did you guys get that? You want to play that last one again? Y'all got it? One more time? Here we go.
Everything you found out up to that wedding day is just what got you to the altar. Everything you about to say I do to is what you don't know. So this is why more than 50% of the marriages end in divorce, because they have no idea that the commitment they're making is not to what they do know about this person. It's what they don't know about this person.
Damn.
Damn. So what you guys thoughts about that? I mean, the first video we always hear that's why it's failing, because women want to be more independent. This second one has like a unique twist. I don't think a lot of people actually think about that. They want everything on the front end, not realizing that marriage is an everyday working thing. Like relationships are. It's an everyday working thing, especially in marriage. It doesn't stop there. A lot of things you're gonna discover. It's impossible to figure out every single thing about a person on the front end. But let's talk about it. This is why marriages fail. What are you guys' thoughts in reference to the videos that we just seen, and just whatever you want to add? I'll go ahead and start with let's start with you first, Hank.
All right. To me, it's just now a lot of the ladies don't respect the man, don't understand the man, and don't appreciate a man. And unfortunately, like the guy said, a lot of ladies' jobs allow them to make a certain amount of income where they don't feel the value of the man was only a check, and if now I'm getting the bag, I don't need him no more. He's not as important to me unless I'm trying to reproduce. But even that, they can go to a bank and get that and pretty much decide on what type of child they want. You know, it's just unfortunate. This is just the way it is right now. That a lot of ladies don't value a man. Now you have some women out there who still holding on. They understand the value of a man. They respect the value of a man, but it's not enough. Because then they wouldn't look at him as just a check and a check only. They will look at him as so much more. You understand what I'm saying? I wish a lot of these more ladies was homeowners. Because as a homeowner, there's some things you got to do around the house that a lady just doesn't want to do.
Ow.
So one of them is yard work. A lot of ladies don't want to do yard work. I know a few that do, but most of they don't. They don't have to go out there and cut the grass, put gas in the lawnmower, fill up. You know, they don't want to have to deal with that. Rake leaves.
A flood. Dealing with a flood, knowing how to turn the water off.
They don't know what a main water valve shut off is. They have no idea there's two. They don't know. They just think I just go to the sink, turn off it. Everything's no. It's not how it is. Now, as a homeowner, you have to deal with all of those. I can't call my landlord and say, "Hey, Miss Landlord, I need to put a work order in to get this fixed." No. You're your own landlord. You your own repairman. Now, what you do, you call somebody up, but he may not be there for 2 or 3 days. So now you in holding. Now you on the waiting list. Oh, no, that ain't what you want. Here, it ain't what you want. You want it immediately. But guess what? If you had that man, that husband in the house, he may not know how to fix it, but guess what he's willing to do? He's willing to try. He has a network of individuals. Oh, I got a guy as a plumber. I got a guy as an electrician. I got as a HVAC man. We're going to get all this taken care of. Or guess what he'll do? He'll go in further. I'll try to fix it myself. I'm going to log up on YouTube and see what I can find out and do them. That's what I do. But see, they don't appreciate that. Not till tragedy comes. Again, when you go to the airport on them trips, them girl trips, they nice, they good. But then when you got to pick up that 70-pound bag up off that roller, it doesn't feel right. Because you done came back, bought you a couple of bottles of liquor, maybe a little left-hand cigarette or two, you know. Doesn't feel right. You have to deal all that. You go out there, your car don't start. Oh, shit, now you need to get your man to go out there and check that battery. Or you might even want him to warm your car up in the morning, scrape it off when it's cold outside. You don't want to get out there on the street and deal with that. Nah, you don't deal with that. And that's even for you ladies who live in apartments. Y'all might have to deal with that because you don't have some garage you keep your car in. So little things like that, man, it should allow you to appreciate your man. So when you go grocery shopping and you tell your husband, could you go out there and get them groceries? He's right there carrying all 10 or 12 bags you got. You understand what I'm saying? When you need things done around the house, it's done. When you need to have somebody just to vent to, he's there. Your girlfriend ain't gonna tell you the real, but your husband will. He gonna keep it honest with you. You may not like it, but he gonna keep it honest with you. So when I feel like when ladies start to appreciate what men bring and the value that we really have more than just a paycheck, they would understand that protection, that security. You come home late at night and that porch light is on, and you know your man's right there waiting on you to make sure you got in the house okay, to make sure you was good and good. You know what I'm saying? You went out with your ladies, had a good time, but you come home, he's right there for you. Whether to take care of your physical needs or your emotional needs.
Hey, Hank, can you answer that second video too? Do you recall that one when he was saying that?
Yeah, I could do that. Now the second video, that I agree, because sometimes you don't know what you get. Now I know Valentine said she doesn't believe in dating, and I understand that, but I believe in that dating process, there's a lot of things you can learn. In that courting process, there's a lot of things you can learn. I'm a man. I don't believe in living with an individual before I get married, so I don't believe in that because I believe we all need our own space. But at the same time, I don't have no problem with you, spending the weeks, a month or so with me, so I can have an idea how you move, how you live, how you take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Even when I'm not around, I'm gonna roll up on your house while you're not there. I got a key. Just like you got presidents. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm gonna roll up just to see what it looks like. I don't want to see about you getting shit cleaned up all of a sudden because I'm coming through. No. I want to know what's going on while I ain't there. When you don't expect me. I need to know all this. But that's just him.
All right, brother Hank.
Right on.
Coach K, what are your thoughts about the videos? Particularly about the second one, because I know the first one we hear a lot too often, but when it comes to the second video, go ahead.
So he says, the things that you have seen are what got you to the altar. And I don't think it's possible. I mean, you can, as much as you want, talk about everything. And I think you should have a lot of conversations about, sorry. I think you should have a lot of conversations to figure out those good, let me start over, to figure out the topics that are important to you. And I saw Jordan Peterson last weekend, and he said something that I thought was really interesting, because he brings his wife on stage, and he said that you don't just mentally note it. If you're thinking about it, you need to bring it up, because some things are silly. Like, that's something I worked on the most, was when, if I had an issue with something and I knew it was silly, I would drop it. But if it's something that you have an issue with and it happens every day, you might not bring it up because you think it's small, it's trivial, but it's not trivial if it repeats every single day. You need to talk about it and you need to figure it out. I think he says something along the lines of, it's, what do you want? What are you thinking? Let's figure it out. It's better for us to figure it out than to do it alone. Like, are we better together figuring this out than doing it alone by ourselves? And one last thing, he says that with marriage, because someone asked him about, cohabitating and being, living together when you're not married. He said that, how can you show them your true self if they can still run away? He said, which of course I understand, like, men's, fears about marriage. So not negating that. But he said it's kind of like when you're in that position, that other person is, they'll do for now until someone better comes along. I thought that was really interesting. But when you make the commitment with conditions, well, I guess there are still conditions if you're not in a marriage, but regardless, you're all in. You have to show everything. I mean, there's skin in the game then, but I don't know. That's all I got right now.
All right. Balance. What are your thoughts? This is why marriages fail.
Yeah. Like I was saying, people are looking at the now instead of the longevity. I say all the time, what you want at 20 and 30 is not what you're going to want at 40, 50, 60, the rest of your life. People don't account for that. They're only looking at what I want today. And if it's based off of superficial things, it's like, this person looks good. I want this for today. That'll change over time. That's why I always talk about character and integrity, because that's who you are. And that's what's going to last long term. If you're not choosing someone based off of those things, it's not going to last, period. So, but you have to have it yourself, right? So you have to be a person of character and integrity to look for that in someone else. And those are the relationships that sustain long term. And hopefully you guys have a goal, like a joint goal that you're both working towards, and you could do it together. That's also something that will bond you together for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, I have my long-term goals, and then I want a man who also has long-term goals, and we could see if it coincides, right? If it makes sense. Because if it doesn't, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, if we don't both want to build legacy and do all these things together for our family, we're just wasting time with each other. We're just passing time together, having fun, entertainment. A lot of relationships are based off of entertainment, and they don't take marriage as seriously as they should, relationships as seriously as they should. Having children, like that's so important. I don't understand how people could just have children with anyone. I'm so confused with the whole dynamic. That's a whole nother story, but who you have children with is extremely important, and it's going to matter for a very long time. So don't do it so loosely. Like that's a big deal too. So, I mean, it's all of these dynamics that go together that I think we need to pay more attention to and stop being so superficial. If I DMs that I get based off of superficial things, it's ridiculous. And if I was a person that cared about money, people talk a lot about gold diggers, right? If I was a person that was a gold digger and cared about money, y'all would not see me. I would have my millions on a jet somewhere, on a yacht somewhere. Y'all would not see me, okay? So I'm telling the truth, JR. You would not see me. So basically what I'm saying, because if I answer these DMs, there's some blue check. There's a lot of people in there, but I'm not focusing on superficial things. I'm not focusing on things that's going to fade.
Really?
Yes, really. People could have money today, lose it tomorrow. I know a lot of people that had money and now they don't. So, I mean, you got to really look at who the person is, character, integrity, things that matter, joint goals. And I'm going to leave it there because, I could talk on and on about that, but I'll leave it right there.
Okay. Said a whole lot there. Luis, what are your thoughts, sir? This is why marriages fail.
I'm going to address the first video, and I thought the first video was very interesting and very telling. I did see it before. When economies change, so do relationship dynamics, right? We value the extended family, the nuclear family, and now it's the single, independent individual or woman in this case, right? And I am curious to know where we're heading now in this AI future, right? Where AI is now going to be at the center of everything. Everything is automated, from your car wash to your food to the things even in your home. Soon enough, you're gonna be able to purchase a full AI person that does your cooking, your cleaning, your laundry, and all these other automated items, right? So you can stay focused and stay working and don't have to worry about all these small trivial things that tend to kind of get in the way of life, right? So what would those relationship conversations now when you have a CP3 4000 in your house and be like, I got a CP3 4000 that cooks, that cleans, does my laundry. What do you bring to the table? Or what do you have to offer, right? I have it all, essentially. And sort of, I think at that point, that's that really that turning point of where we have something that facilitates all the small necessities of our lives, right? The laborious sort of chores, right? And sort of now, if everything is equilibrium and we remove all those role dynamics, right? What are we really attracted to each other about? Is it money now, or is there going to be a different type of currency? And I think that at that point, if we give people that sort of level of egalitarian, I think that the currency there becomes your personality. I think it has to become, because if you're both equally yoked and all these things are just kind of exported, I think that people will need to really invest in their personality, to be socially calibrated. And unfortunately, that is really what's lacking, because to kind of jump point to the next video, I think that people are far more picky about the places that they elect to go eat at, in the food that they elect to go eat, than they are about the people that they sleep with, and the food, more picky than the people they elect to sleep with, and elect to have children with as well. People are far more picky about all those other, surface level things that we tend to kind of praise about on social media, versus the underlining things that really are important. And I think that those have, really come to the surface, and it's really, really telling. So to kind of get to the later part of the second video is that I think it's about grit. People have to really know what they're getting into and have those tough conversations in the beginning about expectations, about, time expectation. How much time do you want to spend together? What do vacations like? How are we going to raise these children? You know what I'm saying? Are they going to have what type of faith-based background, right? Those are the conversations that need to have, right? What is your sexual expectations? You know what I'm saying? Do you have a high sex drive? What are your preferences, right? Because far often I tend to hear on various different platforms and background, people are much more willing to share their body than they are to share the most intimate, deepest thoughts of their mind. And it is so benign to me that we have gotten that far from grace, that we're not able to share the person that we're electing to put ourselves in a predicament whether we might get a disease or even have a baby with, right? That we won't even share what's brewing in the back of our mind. And it's really telling. And hopefully that, with a series of these conversations, people really start coming to the table, not about what they bring, but what they are intending with.
That, can I say, that was spot on, Lewis. You just touched on so many good things. And that reminds me, with the advancements in technology and just economically, as humans, we have not caught up as far as our evolution goes. We are still in the survival state. Well, we shouldn't be, but we are, where we want that instant gratification. If we're uncomfortable, we're thinking it's danger, when really we're not about to die. We're just like uncomfortable that someone's like making fun of us in the chat or something like that, And we're still thinking about the now, versus, which we have it covered. We have food, we have shelter, but we're not thinking about the, delaying the gratification and the future. And we're making those, decisions on those knee-jerk reactions, and that's only hurting us. So it's like we have the capacity to desire so much more with our prefrontal cortex, but everything else it's just making it so much easier that it's like it's not even forcing us to grow. Like, we don't have to. Well, you will if you don't meet your goals and things like that. You're really going to be uncomfortable, and that's going to make you wake up. It'll probably be too late. But as humans, we just haven't met where technology is at, if that makes sense. We haven't evolved. So that's it.
Okay. Go ahead. Jay came off the mic.
No, I think one thing I've always thought was endurance. You know, acknowledging that somebody, you're gonna hate somebody. You're gonna really, you'll love them, but you're not gonna like them a lot. And how to bounce back from that, you know, how to go from almost looking at somebody as like a enemy in a relationship, or looking at them as, you know, just a person you can't stand, but how to bounce back from that, or how to build up the endurance to make it past that time where you feel like that. You know, a lot of times, you know, I've never been married, never no attempts, but you know, viewing my parents, you know, my parents were separated at one point when I was younger, and I just watched, you know, how that happened. I was the result, you know, and stuff that I dealt with older was the result of that separation, you know, but they had endurance, you know, and maybe that was something that was instilled, you know, back in that day where, you know, you stuck it out, and then they got to the time, you know, where they're approaching 80 years old, and you know, it's kind of about sitting around watching TV, laughing, doctor's appointments, you know, companionship, versus we don't really see that far. When we get in these situations, you know, we cut it off because everybody, for the most part, makes it seem like you have to be happy. Every day has to be just the best day ever. And that's just not reality. You know, I think the expectations for marriage and what people present marriage to be is just incorrect, you know, and it's misleading. So you have these people, I mean, I know females that literally have told me that they knew they weren't supposed to be in the marriage on the night of the what's the
Bachelorette? Don't say the Bachelorette.
No, not the when you go on your trip after the wedding.
The honeymoon.
The honeymoon. Yes, man. She told me this, and I'm just like, damn. She had gotten married. They was on the honeymoon, and she knew. She was like, yo. So now she's sitting there like, how am I gonna get out of this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's my exit strategy? Like, she just knew. And you have a lot of people like that. You know, there's a host of people that are literally in marriages that they weren't supposed to be in, should not have ever gotten into, rushed into, whatever the case may be. But, you know, for the dynamic of people who've done it the right way, who love each other, who are compatible, you know, equally yoked, you're still going to go through those adversities. You know what I mean? So you have to.
Hey, Jay, that message for you.
Why Jay talking sexy? Yeah, I'll slow it down for you.
Oh.
But
look, this ain't after hours. Come on now. Normal speed.
Nah. But nah, I think it's endurance.
Precious, you know we heathens.
Yeah, we all heathens. It's a seducing spirit on Jay. I appreciate that. No. But nah, I think it's endurance. Knowing that you're gonna feel an adverse reaction to circumstances for a period of time, how to bounce back from them. And hopefully you and the person love each other enough to have the respect to work your way back together. You know,
I have a question for you, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
So you were saying, well, first, do you want to be married?
Yes, I do.
Why do you think that you've never attempted marriage at this point? Do you think it's because you haven't found the woman, or you weren't willing to when you were younger? Like, you personally, what's your reason for not being married yet?
I found them and lost them because I wasn't, you know, mature enough to acknowledge that that's the person. You know, this is a special person here, and you need to build on that. You know, you need to nourish this relationship, you know, and maybe it was just something with me personally. You know, I think as men, we hold in a lot, we don't disclose a lot, so people don't know how to deal with us, you know. So I was in a situation where I was the loser in the relationship. I'll say it that way, meaning I hit a hard spot. You know, I was chasing dreams. She was working, you know, but she was still dealing with me. You know what I'm saying? But internally, I had a lot of how do I explain it? Internally, I was beating myself up because I wasn't competing, you know. So after a while, you know, it's like once we broke up, boom, I became what I should have been while the relationship was happening, but you know, it just passed. You know, she ended up getting married. So
maybe that's what you needed. You know,
after I was
It looks like you got contenders in the chat, though. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, I don't mess with the internet, man. I stay off the internet. I stay off the internet, man.
You better
check internet dating.
Check the DMs.
But yeah, I think two that I could think of. You know, I just wasn't ready. You know, looking back, I wasn't ready for it, but I know that they were special.
Thanks for being honest. I appreciate that. That's real talk. Okay.
All right, let's keep this conversation going. This is why marriages fail. Go ahead, Precious.
I think both clips go hand in hand. Excuse me, because the first clip, I love his work. He talks about how economics change and how, you know, back then agriculture, people had farms, people were, you know, growing their food more than you see now. And so men, women, and children, like everyone was in the field, everyone was, you know, getting it. And then you go into the age of social media and the internet, the computers, you see a lot of that decline. And back in the day, it was, you know, Hank talked about, you know, yard work. It was, you know, we mowing the lawn, we raking the leaves, we're doing the edging, we're doing all of that. We even had to do the neighbors, you know, it wasn't just ours. We had to do the neighbors. We shoveling snow. And nowadays, kids just don't have that work ethic because the parents aren't necessarily instilling that in the children. And maybe they didn't have that growing up in their household because they were in a single parent household. And so they didn't see two parents delegating, you know, certain chores, certain work habits towards the children and instilling that in children, and not because it needed to be done, but because that is a practice that you and a discipline that you install into your children. You know, I'm not asking you to do the dishes just because the dishes need to be done. I'm asking you to do the dishes because that is a practice as you get used to, you know, doing things like that. And now with the computer, you don't even have to go grocery shopping anymore. Like y'all said, you have all these, you don't have to vacuum anymore. I remember lugging the heavy vacuum up the stairs, trying to do the stairs, the baseboards, all of that. Like you don't have that anymore because now you have electronics doing these things for you. And as far as the second video, you know, you know what you're marrying up front, but you don't know what you're getting later. You know, that speaks to that. You know, do you have someone that was born in the 90s that was in front of their computer and don't know anything about work ethic? Do you have someone, you know, I always throw sports in there because I was in sports. So that instills a lot of work ethic, you know, determination, drive, all of that. You know, you have to know who you are picking. And in order to know who you're picking, you need to know where they come from, to know where they really gonna go. You know, if you're picking someone that don't have that work ethic, you know, a lot of people was raised in a single family home. Thank God I wasn't, but I was also adopted. If I wasn't adopted, I probably would have been in a single family home. So, you know, everybody doesn't have that luxury because I feel like a 2-parent home is a luxury. It's a necessary luxury, but it's a luxury nowadays. And so, you know, if you don't know what you're getting, you don't know what you're going to get. So I think those conversations, I think Lewis said it, those conversations are important if you don't have that 2-family home, because now you're joining with someone who may not have had it either. So now you have a lot of broken pieces coming together and you need to know how to put those broken pieces together. So a lot of people think that, oh, we make the money, we could pay the bills, we're good. Until adversity hits you, until someone gets sick, until real life happens. And then you see what someone is made of. But you had to see what they were made of. What was being pumped into them into their childhood. What is their current worth ethic? When you get those foundational things down, religion, things that Luis was talking about, when you get those foundational things down, I think it's easier to go into the future with somebody. I think it goes back to that first conversation too. Do you see your future with someone if you don't see your future with them? So I think those foundational things are important. The internet is definitely has torn the family unit apart. You have women that don't appreciate men, that don't see, like Hank was saying, you know what I mean? Going on YouTube, figuring that out. I don't want to figure that out. A man is going to do that, but you don't have women that appreciate a man that's even going to do that and don't realize that he's you changing a life fixture. You risking your life. You risking your life. But it's easy for a woman to say, oh, I don't need a man. I'll just call the landlord. I'll just call so-and-so. Well, how long are you going to do that for? How long are you going to do it for? How much money are you going to put out there when you could just have a man who got it taken care of, who will do it for you? But the internet will give you bits and pieces of other people's life, making you feel like everybody else is better than you. That's why I never want what anybody else have, because I don't know what you went through to get that. I don't know what you've gone through to maintain that. I don't know what you, I don't know. So I'll never want anybody else's life on the internet, ever.
And Press, not only that, you're bringing strangers in your home to even do anything, to do any repairs on your washing machine, your dryers, or hanging a new ceiling fan. Could you imagine bringing a stranger to your home? You don't know his background. You don't. He might have a criminal background.
So
and you got your kids or your daughter around. What does that look like? No.
You know, it's interesting. We talk about, you know, wealth and, you know, passing down generational wealth, but we never pass down generational hard work. We pass down and talk about passing down asset, generational wealth, but nobody passes down generational hard work. And this is the reason why once the Vanderbilts, one of the richest families in the world, went broke, because they passed down a lot of generational wealth, but they didn't pass down the generational hard work and the knowledge needed to keep and maintain that wealth, right? So when we look at these type of scenarios, right, you know, these are just small band-aids at the moment, because when tough times come, you'll see who's who in the moment of truth, right? You know, God forbid we ever be in a war situation, or God forbid we have a shortage in food, right? Who's really ill-equipped to start farming, plant their own food? You know, who here knows how to hunt, fish, cultivate the land in any way capacity if technology was to go down tomorrow, right? It is a plus and a benefit, but if we remove it from the table in the equation completely, who are you without it? And I think that's the bigger question is that, like, the conveniences that the world provides, you know, define a lot of people's reality. And I wonder if people sit back and wonder, where would I be without those conveniences? Because we use those to garner more time, right? To save more time, to spend more time with our family, our kids. And these are sort of to be an added value to our society. But I'm curious to know, if you took those away, how many people have the grit and the wit to be able to continue sustaining without those conveniences?
And I think this is why marriages fail and relationships fail, because when the inevitable hard times come, I'm going to say to the women, they're ready to get out. They think that's going to be the solution. And then they blame it on, well, it's just the man. This is a reason why. But whether it's a relationship or life in general, you cannot escape hard times. And I like to compare it to the gym. like you are not going to be strong and be able to get through those things or to, you know, build those skill sets if you do not test yourself and break those muscles down, and then you're going to heal and be stronger for it. But it has, like that endurance that Jay was talking about, it happens with the hard times. And honestly, like with my relationship, my marriage, I mean, people might say marriage is boring or being with someone that long is boring. I mean, again, it's only been 6 years, but it's like you're still experiencing new parts of life that are going to test both of you. And I feel like he's different than, you know, who he was. He's different than who he once was, you know? And it's like just experiencing growing older and, you know, eventually having children. That's going to be a whole nother side of us, you know? But also too, when you both commit to not getting out, then you have to do what is necessary. And guess what? We're both better for it. Like of course, this is the best relationship I've ever had. I mean, we hardly ever fight, really. I mean, we have tips, that's for sure, but we just drop it, you know? It's like, no matter what, life is going to be hard, but we get into trouble when we're unhappy because we're unhappy, but you're supposed to be. You need that contrast to know what's good if you don't have the bad. But that's all.
Well, let me say this real fast.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bounce. Go ahead.
I was just going to agree with Coach K. I think going to the gym is actually a good, people were talking about testing a woman, but I think it's a good idea to even go to the gym and see if somebody can even push through a workout. Like, do they have the capacity to even do that? Can they finish the workout? If they can't even finish a workout on a workout, I mean, I'm just saying there are some red flags. To me, that's a red flag if you can't even finish a work. So it's like, is it somebody that's just they're
you gotta give her credit for going balance. She might fall out in the middle, but you got it.
No, because I just want to know, like, if people just give up on things too easy, like if your pattern in life, like they just give up on stuff, they can't finish things, they can't complete things, because that in itself is a red flag. I want to know if you could finish something, complete. Did you finish school if that was your goal? Whatever your goal is, did you complete this goal that you had 5 years ago? Like, are you able to sustain those things that you chose to do in your own life? Because if you can't even finish for yourself, how are you going to finish in a marriage? Now this is a partnership, you know? So, and those are things that you should look out for. But go ahead, Hank.
No, I was going to say Tuesday's Valentine's Day. So for all you ladies who are in a relationship, who is married, have a man at the home, make sure you show him some appreciation. Make sure you get him a gift. Matter of fact, go even further. Get him some flowers and some chocolate and a card. I understand society has pushed us for the men to always continue to buy stuff for the women all the time. To me, it's a ladies' holiday, and I understand that. But at the same time, it's also should be a man's holiday to be appreciated. That's your opportunity right then and there to show some type of appreciation for your husband, for your fiance, for your spouse, your significant other, whatever title you want to give them. That's the opportunity to show some type of love and appreciation for your man. Cook him a good dinner. You understand what I'm saying? Make sure he's got some flowers and some candy or whatever special treat that he likes. Go get some nice lingerie for later on and watch him bring that honey and sprinkles to the bedroom and see what happens. Shout out to my grocery eaters. Shout out to the grocery eaters.
You said honey and sprinkles.
I'm not gonna touch that. But that is important, and even just on the daily, because of course, on these panels, women are always talking about what they want, you know, the amount of money. But even if you see your man taking the actions, whether it's just, you know, checking up on a promotion he's looking for or looking into what is required, those are actions that he's taking, and appreciate him for those things. Or when you ask him, like I remember when my man had to go, my battery was messed up and there was just all these issues, but he did everything, didn't complain once. And I seriously was so appreciative. I just felt like, you know, a puppy, like, oh my gosh, what would I have done without you? Honestly. But just showing him that appreciation, I think you can never do that enough. So that's something you want to be intentional about every single day, because you can find something to appreciate him for. And it feels good to do that too on the women's side.
Oh, there you go. Everybody answer this question? I believe so, right? All right. Guys, you're tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef-ING Sundays. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Little Ba, $2 said, must be Sunday because everyone's preaching. Salute to you for that super chat. Thank everybody that has donated. We don't ask for it, but it's appreciated. If anything, just hit the like button. That's all I require. Just hit the like button. And if you don't like it, hit the dislike button. But hopefully you do. Make sure you go ahead and share the stream as well. Now it's time to get to the meat of the conversation. And we know the ladies like the meat.
Ow.
Shout out to the ladies. Shout out to the ladies. The main topic, the meat of the conversation is when communicating, emotions count for more than logic. When communicating, emotions count for more than logic. I got a clip that I'm going to play. But before I play this clip, I want you guys to understand that I want to tackle this from all angles, men and women, because we often have, I think communication is very important in all type of relationships, especially marriages, romance, friends, whatever, just relationships. Communication is really important. And a lot of times there's a lot of emotion that I have within these conversations and not enough logic. Even when logic is presented, it's attacked in some cases. This particular clip that I'm about to play is where a woman is speaking about what men would probably want to say if they had the chance to. So we're going to play this clip.
I'm going to say it because men can't. More often than not, women will argue with their emotions so that they're always right. Not all the time, but more often than not, women will argue with their feelings so that they're always right. Because no matter what, your feelings are valid. Period. That's the full sentence. But now if we're having a conversation, I tell you, you weren't supposed to feel that way. Even if I didn't mean to make you feel that way, if I tell you that your feelings are dumb, now I'm gaslighting you. But the only person that can validate those feelings is you. And I have to accept how you feel. Period. But then if I try and introduce logic to the situation, then I'm missing the point. Okay. As a man, if you try and argue your feelings, then you're a bitch. Okay. So now there's no conversation to be had. It's just, you made me feel this way, apologize, and let's get over it. But I didn't get to get off nothing about how I felt or how I feel about the situation or what I thought. And this is coming from a woman that processes her emotions and feelings in private and argues with logic and unbiased worldview opinions in public. So I'm just trying to figure out when do y'all accept or try and hear the other point of view? That's all I want to know. I'm just curious.
I just want to give sis a round of applause. That's all.
So we saw the angle that we heard her take it. I think it's a very important piece of content right there that was played, because I think the men can relate. I could be wrong, but I think the men can relate. But let's go ahead and address what she said, but also in general, when communicating, emotions count for more than logic. It's a great discussion. It's an awesome panel right now. I know we can be able to get through it, but let's see if we can learn something here on the panel as well as teach for the people that's watching. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to Jay first on this one. What were your thoughts when you heard that video? Is that something you think she's speaking facts? Is it something that you've been through? And what can you put out there for the audience?
Absolutely, because most people are not equipped to see past how they feel. You know, me included at times, like I know somebody's telling me, and we have people that we reach out to because we know, okay, I'm gonna hear what I want to hear, but then you'll have a person to go out to reach out to because you're gonna hear what you need to hear. So you have to have a balance on both of those. You have to have those two people. That duality is important because you don't want to get too caught up in your feelings like, yo, you are wrong. So in that regard, feel how you want to feel. It's natural, but understand that logically how you're feeling is incorrect. Or if you're reacting to something emotionally in that capacity, when logic is on the table, you have some work to do. You have some work to do. Feel how you want to feel, but work through that, because that's only going to land you in bad situations. If you can't see past how you're feeling versus what is reality or what is fact. I hear people say the truth can never be disrespect. And I think, while that's harsh, it's facts, it's truth. If I'm telling you the truth, like Chicago is not going to be in the Super Bowl this year.
Hey.
You don't like to hear that, but it's a fact. But that's my take. And my last thing is just, in regards to, emotions or women wanting to feel, just imagine if, women went, let's say 15 to 20 years just getting passes, men never saying anything that was on their mind. We spoke amongst ourselves and we shared our experiences, but we never said anything to them. And then imagine for the next 5 years, there was just a parade telling them everything that they didn't want to hear. You know what I mean? That's what you see is happening within like the last 4 to 5 years. There've been spots of people that, spoke that truth and then they'll get shut up or taken off the air or, swept under a rug. But collectively, there's like a parade float going through every town these women in, speaking stuff that they've never heard for the past 20 years. You know what I mean? So they fighting, man.
Shout out to the Green Gang right here. Cash Flow Hustle says logic and emotion are both important in life. I agree. It's all about balance, though. It's about when and where, how you use it. Because emotion can be good in certain instances. It's like care, right? A bit like care, but then when you use it against the person you're supposed to be building with, then it's tearing the empire down. So you got to understand like when to use, how to use the emotion when it's important. Go ahead, Real Precious. You said that homegirl was spot on. When communicating emotions count for more than logic. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, she was definitely spot on. Most times when women speak on the behalf of men, we get attacked. We get called pick-me's, we get called all types of names. However, there's nothing wrong with having an awareness about what men go through and being able to clearly see what men go through. From my Christian background, it's written that it is not good for men to be alone. Right. So man was created, earth, everything was created, everything was good. But the one thing that wasn't good was that man was alone. So if we're going to join with the man and everything in his world is already good, we have to understand how to communicate with that man, which means that it's probably going to get a little ugly. It's probably going to, you're probably going to be finding your way through that process. But we're also called to respect men, and men are called to love us, because those are the lines that get blurred. When women respect men, that means you are understanding his logical point of view, because he's a man. He's coming with logic. You do understand that you're a woman and that you're coming with emotion, which means when you're joining with that man, you might have to, simmer down on those emotions, because you're not by yourself anymore. You're joined with a man who you need to respect. Hank is actually going to join me tomorrow. I'm having an all men's panel. But when men speak about their emotions, when they talk about, their emotions, like she said, you guys are called the B words. You know what I mean? You're looked at as not tough. You're not the man anymore. When in all actuality, you're still human. Just because y'all are men and y'all get things done and you're driven and things like that, it doesn't mean that you're not human. And so a lot of the times your emotions aren't even brought to the surface. And some, when they are brought to the surface, it comes out in anger and rage because you don't have someone that is there respecting you. And I think that, you know, the more that we have conversations like this, the more that we're able to put certain things out on Front Street and actually talk them out, where, you know, men are able to speak with women like Coach K, Balancing Codes, myself, and you're able to have these conversations where you're not screaming, where you're not yelling at one another, where you're not, you know, coming at each other. We know that we're here for a common goal. We want the family to come together. We want marriages to happen again. So if we're here for a common goal, we have to respect one another. We have to be able to speak to each other. We have to be able to listen while the other talks. And so that we've gotten so far away from that. And, you know, when it comes to emotions, women need to, I always say women need to work on that. Women need to work on their mouths. Women need to work on how they present themselves. And women know this. Women know where their blockages are. They know where they fall short and they fail to make the changes. And like she said in the video, oh, well, when a woman has her emotions, she's the one that validates those emotions. That man can't tell her she's wrong. That man can't tell her, hey, maybe you should look at it like this logically, you know, bringing logic into the conversation. I see it this way, or, you know, I see it kind of happening this way. Maybe you could pull back here or there, and she's going to argue him down. No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. What man is going to want to be with a woman like that? If you're not able to work together, if you're not able to come together, what's the point of him having you on his team? So I think women need to understand that your emotions, they may be valid, but go talk to a counselor if you want somebody to really hone in on what's going on with you. Because your man is going to bring logic. He's going to bring it back down to surface level, because you all the way up here. He's going to bring it back down to surface level. Let's be reasonable about this. But a lot of times women don't want to admit that there are things that allow their emotions to get out of control that have nothing to do with that man. He's just in front of you and you are unlocking and unloading on him. Now, he may say something, there may be some actions that may trigger what your actual problem is, but that don't mean that you attack him. That means maybe you need to listen to him because he's seeing something that you don't see. And that's okay, because that's why y'all on each other's team. But we really need to mask some of our emotions. Like I said, if you can't do that, go see someone who's going to be able to help you control and get those emotions under control. So when you speak to him, you're able to do so in a calm manner. And if you're not going to always agree, but that's okay. At least you know how to control your emotions. And that's why men don't come to women like that for conversations, because they know that she's not going to agree. And that disagreement is not going to end well. And so they just don't go to her. They'll go to someone else. They'll go to the girl that they can talk to. They'll go to someone who actually listens, someone who can actually use, you know, the same logic that they're using. Like she said, I'm the same way. I deal with my emotions in private because I know as a woman, I could probably be over the top sometimes, but I also have to come back to logic to say, okay, I'm being a bit much. I need to tone it down. But you have to have that self-awareness too. And women just think it's all about them, their emotions, you know, they're the queen of the palace, and they, you know, no, you have to be able to work with the man in that way and understand that sometimes you just need help for what you're going through. And that's okay. Because he'd rather you come healed than hollering. That's it.
Pressure, you normally don't talk as much, but you was all right.
Look, it's Sunday.
Good with that. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
All right. Go ahead, Balance. What are your thoughts about it? When communicating, emotions count for more than logic.
Precious said that so well. She really did. And what she's speaking about is emotional intelligence, because a lot of women lack emotional intelligence. They cannot control their emotions. And people think that women only do this to men. No, women do it to us too. Just to put that out there, like women attack us in the same way, over talk us, yell at us. There is a certain thing called a girl code. That's a real thing. I know we don't like to talk about it, but the girl code is real. And when one of them that doesn't make sense and is talking nonsense, then the other ones are just like, yeah. It's crazy to me. And I think it was learned in school and childhood, and they're all wrong together. They're like, at least we're together though, but they're all wrong. And we see it so much. We see it on these panels too. Like women love to let their emotions take over them. And this actually happened to me 2 Sundays ago. Yes, I'm gonna bring this up because I wanted to talk about it in the midst of it, but I couldn't because the women there were not being logical. And I tend to be more logical in a way. I think I studied emotional intelligence, so I had to learn that. I didn't come like this. It's something I had to work on. It's a skill that you can develop. So I'm not saying, oh, I'm perfect. No, I'm saying this is something I work on, and a lot of women do not work on it, and you could tell the difference. So when I was on the panel, I remember B. Taylor, she didn't like what I was saying when I was talking about men. So she started like yelling over me, right? And talking about how she doesn't care what men think. And I'm like, well, I do care about what men think. You're being emotional right now. She was like, you're not attacking me by saying I'm being emotional. And I'm like, I'm not attacking you. Like, it's like me saying your hair is black. Like, it's a fact. You're being emotional. I'm not attacking you. But then, like, she couldn't calm herself in that. She was just being emotional. And we see this a lot of times. A lot of women do this. When they can't control their emotions, they attack you and then play victim at the same time, which is kind of ironic. Because how are you attacking and the victim at the same time, girl? How you learn that? Like, that's crazy. So I'm just saying, they do it to men all the time. I don't know how men deal with it. I honestly don't. Thank God I'm a woman. I don't know how men deal with it, but they also do it to other women. And not only that, we see mothers doing this to daughters. We see friends doing it to each other. It's a culture that women have within themselves that it really needs to be removed. It needs to be removed, but it starts with us, right? It starts with us having these conversations and being real and holding each other accountable, but also holding ourselves accountable as women. And when you see your sister doing something wrong, forget that sister code. Like, tell her it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. Like, I'm holding men and women accountable. It is what it is. But I think a lot of women have an issue with that because they were raised like that. And a lot of times their mothers were like that too, just being honest. So that's why it's hard for them. But I mean, it starts with us. Hold yourself accountable, hold your friends accountable, and cut it out. And then I think in these times, because of social media, it's much easier for me to notice who these women are. Like, it's easy for you to spot these women really quickly. So I feel like it's easy for you guys to point them out and steer clear of those women, right? I feel like you have all of these signs now, and you're like, this is not a woman for me. So then choose somebody else. Sometimes guys stay in stuff too long. They stay in situations with women who are very combative for way too long, and it's unhealthy, and it's a disservice to yourself. Like, there are women who don't have that issue. Choose different women. I know we could say so many of them are like that. That's true. But if you can't work with that specific woman, move on. Like, I told my uncle this, like, he's actually unfortunately serving time because he was dealing with a combative woman right now that got him into a fight with another person. And it was just a whole mess because he couldn't just walk away when he saw all of these red flags. So, I mean, stop looking at the surface of a woman and see if you can have a conversation with her, if you can connect with her, if you could actually reason with her. Because a woman who isn't reasonable, she's going to mess up your life long term. I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to warn y'all. She will mess up your life. And I'm tired of seeing my brothers. Yeah, right? I'm tired of seeing my brothers go down this path where a woman done wrecked their life because she's not reasonable. A lot of men get killed like this. Seriously, we're joking and stuff, but this is a real thing. Like, even men in my family in jail over a woman. It could have been avoided. So get away from these combative, crazy, loud, unreasonable girl code women, period. Hank, I'm gonna be you today. Hold on.
Leave them at the restaurant. Leave their ass at the restaurant.
Right?
Oh, that's right.
I'm tired of seeing it too. And I want to warn my brothers too, and my uncles and my family members too. So really choose wisely. All right, I'm gonna stop. But yeah.
And I said earlier, you know, protect your meat. I had a panel and someone has said it on the panel, but protect your money, your energy, your attention, and your time. You know, you have to protect that as a man. And if there's a woman that's violating that or going, you know, too far, then you got to cut her off.
Cut her way off. Don't still have sex with her. Cut her off. Block her number. Don't talk to her ever. Like, cut her off. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Louise, what are your thoughts, sir? When communicating, emotions count for more than logic.
Man, I'm loving this energy today. You know, I'll say this, you know, balance and congruency is very important when navigating between logic and emotion, right? I think we're in a very overly emotional society today. I think that a lot of people expect you to kind of just lean into your emotion. And this is why men have to learn how to become the thermostat and not the thermometer. You know, you got to set the pace. And I think in certain conversations, when certain things are brought up or even weaponized against you, that might have you feeling away, your ability to kind of practice stoicism, to stay calm, cool, and collective in that moment, you know what I'm saying, will show much different, because they're going to burn out. They're going to get tired. They're going to burn out. And I think at that moment, when they get it out, is a perfect opportunity to kind of interject some logic, you know, showcase where they're wrong and kind of showcase and navigate the flaws in the errors of their position, right? And the things that they've done. I think sometimes when these conversations happen, I think it's easy to kind of get triggered, especially when conversation, especially between topics that are sometimes very close or dear, because there's a lot of things that we discussed today on this panel and previous panels that are very close to people, you know, and they haven't fully recovered from that. They haven't fully worked through that. And even the mere thought or someone bringing it up, it's just a trigger word and it just gets them going. And I think that one of the things that we tend to do very poorly is effectively listen. I think we listen, but unfortunately we're not comprehending what the other person is telling us, because I think, you know, women in this case do tend to get wrapped up too far into their emotion. And you know, and I think that Precious and Balance said it really, really well. You know, I think it's really comes down to emotional intelligence. And those are the two key factors that kind of separates you between the next person.
All right. Go ahead, Coach K. Communicating emotions count for more than logic.
Yeah. So emotions do count. I mean, we're human at the end of the day, but if you're thinking something irrational and illogical, then your emotions do not count. I find a lot of times, and I used to be like this, but now I am aware and I manage my emotions and I teach my clients to do the same. If you're blaming someone else for the way that you feel, now you have to wait for them to change their behavior or, you know, do something in order for you to feel better. So you are relying solely on them for your feelings. And a lot of times people do that with people they say they don't even like. That is a choice, but you are always in control of your emotions. You might be giving that away without even realizing it, but that's on you. So now but we do want to be sad sometimes. We want to be mad sometimes, but you have to own that. And that's not a reason for you to act like a toddler and act like and throw a tantrum, because you are not managing your emotions at that point. Managing your emotions can literally just be like, just sitting here. You know, maybe you're not as talkative or whatever, but when you react to your emotions, you are not managing them and you're blaming them on someone else. That's unacceptable. And oftentimes we hurt our own feelings by thinking something that's totally optional. You know, thinking like, do you really think your man is trying to hurt you? Ask yourself that. And if it's no, then you need to kind of figure out, okay, how do I want to think about this? You know, there's always alternatives. And you can also find understanding too. Maybe your significant other or whoever said something, figure out maybe something was going on or he had a bad day at work. It's not about you all the time. You know, maybe he kind of was short with you. Okay, sure. Maybe that wasn't the best thing, but he had a long day. Find some understanding. You're not very nice either when you've had a long day. And then you can show up and meet him where he's at. So that's what I would say. Everyone is in charge of their emotions, and what someone else does is not a reason or justification for you to act insane. But no, that's emotions do not count for more than logic.
Okay. Uncle Stepdaddy was trying to come here for a second. Uncle Stepdaddy, I think was that you, Balance? Said you want to know his name?
Yes, I've been asking him, what is your name, please, sir?
Smoke weed every day.
You're muted.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Can you hear me now? Testing, 1, 2.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. No, my name is Ricardo. I'm godmother named me after. I know everybody old enough to remember. I Love Lucy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ricky Ricardo. That's what everybody called me, and that's why I got my name from. But my name on here, it's kind of complicated. It's got dealing with a relationship, because ever since I've been in a relationship, I've always only dealt with single mothers. So yeah, you add that up.
Right on.
Yeah.
But, I know you wanted to come up there with you got on the show.
Yeah, JR, man. Well, first shout out to everybody. You know, I hope everybody had a great weekend, preparing every day for Super Bowl this evening for the start of the work week tomorrow. I think, you know what, and I'm not saying this to troll or anything, because I love y'all show, man. I love y'all. I watch y'all every week. You know, I support y'all. You know, I've come to the live show, but this probably is the most peaceful, tranquil show y'all had in a while, especially compared to last week, yo. Like I didn't like that how Hink got attacked, and you know what I'm saying, ladies, some of y'all ladies on here, I'm gonna put y'all across my lap and spank y'all bottom a little bit, because y'all should have got on old girl ass. You know what I'm saying, like what's the name said, but we get it. Sometimes, just like y'all said, you can't hold grown folks accountable. Grown folk got to be grown. You know what I'm saying? So when it cut, and that had a lot to do with it, with emotions. So my thing is like y'all hitting everything on the head today. You know, I think we have to take full advantage of everything that's going on, especially within society. Society has made us think that a lot of things that go on is the norm. They've made everything wrong right and everything right wrong. You can't even say anything. Like the kid the other night that played basketball, all he said was no HOMO. And now he got to apologize a day or two later. We live in a society now where you can, as a man, you won't be able to speak and say anything. Because if you critique a woman, you hate black women, you're a misogynist and stuff like that. And I forgot which one of the fellas, I'm gonna end it after this, JR. I forgot which one of you guys said something about this the other week, as to women, especially black women, and I'm not attacking y'all. Who are you to tell me how to talk to you? But then after you tell me how to talk to you, you still disrespect me. You know, I never understood that. We're supposed to talk to each other in a correct way, not talk at each other. I grew up hearing a lot of that, you know what I'm saying, when I was growing up. I never seen black women talk to black men in the manner I see today. And I've never seen black men, you know what I'm saying, ostracized the way they are. So I think we need to do more loving, everybody. It ain't got to just do with one color, all people. I feel like we should do more loving and understanding each other. You know what I'm saying? So next time, like I tell everybody every day, and I live this through my job. I do security, I do private security. I always smile at somebody and ask them how their day are, because you never know. That person that you smile at their face and ask them how their day is, you never know what they went through after they left out that door. Because a lot of people out here are going through things, man. I had people come to me, talk to me, and tell me what type of mental health issues they had. So that smile and that hug for me, or that well wishing, can go a very, very long way.
Well, Uncle Stepdaddy, that was a beautiful quote. For that man, whoever said that, man has to be a very intelligent, handsome looking young man.
Hey man, you know that's where I got it from, man. All you gotta do is look at me. I came from the genetics, bro.
Yeah, it was a great quote. I love that quote. I'm gonna have to write that down.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Boy,
at what point do we become so overly sensitive? You know, when was that crossroad that we become so overly sensitive that even constructive criticism is viewed as a personal attack?
Go ahead.
Boomers.
I think it started once they created stuff or created labels for you to fight to not be tagged as, you know, like you were just mentioning, misogyny, you know, being called the misogynist. If you're not aligned with a certain community, you're anti that. Just because you're not aligned, you don't disrespect what they stand for or their plight, but it just doesn't fall in line with, you know, your ideals. Now you're anti or, you know, phobic of that community. And just any other, you know, there's a bunch of communities. If you're not in alliance with them, then you're against them.
Yeah.
So
go ahead. My bad.
No, I'm done.
I'll add something to that, Jay. I'm gonna tell you something that's more dangerous than feminism is men who enable those actions and those behaviors. I see a lot of guys, and I ain't gonna say no names. Some of y'all that's on these panels and these chats gonna know what I'm talking about. You see a lot of hyenas and terrorism that goes on through these panels, and they enable these women's activities. And it's some guys, especially one in particular, that's enabling this. Not, you know, you have to tell these people like, look, you can't act like this. You can't portray yourself like this, bro. In the same way we have to hold each other accountable. I feel like that other men should be able to hold women accountable without being attacked and ostracized and emasculated, because that's what this society has come to. It's gonna get to a point probably within the next 10 to 15 years, men are gonna be silent. We ain't gonna be able to say nothing. It's gonna be get to a point where it's gonna probably get back to slavery, and women are gonna be our masters.
It's gonna be everybody, bro. I mean, you can't even call yourself a woman. You can't even call yourself a mother. Like, it's getting crazy.
Yeah. It's like an anything goes society. It's crazy.
And it's starting in the schools, because that's where all the kids, especially the young adults, are. That's where it started. So now when people went through the schools, the colleges, universities, they became the next ones. And now it's just getting younger and younger. And when someone's labeled, you can't argue it, because it's like, that's a fact. That's just what it is. And it's like, well, there's no conversation.
Yeah, it's a form of indoctrination.
And I want to respond to Ricardo, because like, even what you're saying now, you're talking about a lot of feminists who are actually the biggest bullies, right? They literally are the biggest bullies out here. So it's like you're telling us to hold those women accountable. Like, there are certain people, like you could tell them, hey, like, for example, you brought up last Sunday the girl, and it's like, hold her accountable. She's yelling at her emotional state at the top of her lungs. There's nothing Precious or I could say to a woman in that emotional state who has a feminist mindset that's going to change her mindset, especially in that moment. There's nothing we could have said. So it sounds good in theory to be like, hold her accountable. But just like I was talking about a sister code earlier, like, they're on code. Nothing I'm gonna say is gonna get that woman to change her mind on this panel. So all we could do is what was done.
Okay.
How we feel isn't the majority. It's actually the minority.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to get it to be
the minority.
Maybe not, but I think this is a great opportunity to say, oh, okay, sorry, there's echo. Which we know no one's mind was being changed last week, but there's still maybe, well, I could see what you're saying, Uncle and Stepdaddy, and maybe there's something we could have done, not to change her mind, but just being open to, possibly not just like shutting down, like, no, there's nothing we could have done. You know what I mean? But I understand what both sides are saying. I'm not even saying what that could have been. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'll just say that.
I'll add to this. It's going to be very short. I agree with y'all, ladies. After hearing that, I believe y'all, like with y'all have a good heart. Your heart's in a good place. But when it comes to people like that who think like that, you're right. There's nothing we can do for them. They're lost. It's like you have to let them go off in the pasture and their personalities die out. And my thing is like I talked to someone a few days ago about, because I tell them I watch these shows faithfully. And I try not to tell people what to do on their shows or panels and things like that. But it's going to have to come to a time where, okay, these people had to go to the wayside. Let them talk about those stuff over there on their side, because they're coming up here and actually adding taint and adding poison to very great, informative, solution-based shows. It's getting bad, man. It's almost a lot of these shows out here getting almost unbearable to watch because these women are coming on here causing chaos intentionally.
They're crashing out.
One in particular left from over here and going to somebody else's podcast and causing havoc. Y'all know who I'm talking about. It's every week. It's the same stuff.
And it's crazy because, again, we have an audience. You guys can see us, but I'm not going to be sitting here screaming at my computer screen. And I remember back when I was doing my podcasting, going on Instagram and seeing people go live. I mean, you have women pointing at the camera like they about to fight through the lens. And it's like, sis, you in your bedroom in the bed. Now you trying to be a internet bully, internet gangster. It's like
throwing gang signs through the media.
What's the right? Like where are we going with this? And then it's for the world to see. So it's like, who raised you at this point?
Nobody.
Who is instilling these things inside of you that you think this is okay? And they're not yelling at women, they're yelling at the men. Like they're going to do something to the men. And it's just disgraceful.
Sad and sickening.
So I can't associate myself with that because I've done too much work to get out of that lifestyle, to not be a part of that.
Out here disrespecting older people, the good-hearted, kind-hearted people.
Right.
Out here calling somebody old enough to be your auntie and your mama, a mammies, and disrespecting the triple and double and quadruple team on them. I don't like that. But hey, like I said, I can't tell. Like I just turned away or just cut the mute sign off. I was like, man, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I still want to support.
With a foul mouth, there's nothing you can do for her that she's not going to be willing to do for herself. There's nothing you can do with that. I'm telling you, nothing.
Well, let me say this. I said it last week. I don't know if y'all heard me due to the volume of someone else. We need those type people. Those are the example. Yeah. Uncle Stepdaddy. The Pookie and Ray Ray is going to be forever. They're always going to be a Pookie and Ray Ray. They may not look the same. They may change up. They may change their uniform, but they still Pookie and Ray Ray. You got some Pookie and Ray Ray in suits. So we need them ratchet type women so they can get together and find somebody to couple up with. Don't migrate. Don't integrate. Don't reproduce with them trash ass people. Don't. So we need them. They're teachable moments. I jumped on the grenade and took all the shrapnel for a reason. I sacrificed myself for the betterment of the people. They needed to see the hyenas in their true form. And they got it. Unraw, uncut in their true form. So congratulations to the panel. Congratulations to the people in the chat and all the people who had to witness that bullshit and the recap videos that y'all was able to benefit off of Hink's demise. That's cool. I'm glad everybody ate on my back. Congratulations. That's me giving back to my people. I wanted to see them benefit, and they was able to. And all of that was said and done right there on live. So I'm glad it happened. Because these are type women we have to deal with on a regular basis. I appreciate you ladies who are standing up for the men and your man and the future men out here that are coming up. Your nephews, your future sons, your future cousins, and all the other family. We need to be uplifted because there's not a lot of people doing it, especially ladies. We need them. Men is always going to speak up for men because that's what we do. But we need more ladies doing the same thing that y'all are doing. And I appreciate you. And that's why I follow y'all pages. I subscribe to y'all pages. and I'm all for it. I want to see this. So let me get on this communication. What was the question again, Jay? I'm sorry, I went on a tangent. What was the question? I didn't get an opportunity to answer the question. Okay, yes. Last week was a prime example of somebody was just strictly off emotion. No logic at all. None. Just off emotion. And the fact that other people do have other opinions that's different from her. I don't have a problem. If that's what you want, that's what you're looking for. You're not looking to go out to a call. Cool, I understand. I just know how to move. I just know how to deal with you. I just know how to understand you better. So when you communicate with your significant other, make sure you actually communicate and you're not lecturing. It's not communication if only one person talking and another person sitting there listening. You're just lecturing them. And no man wants to be lectured. He dealt with that enough through high school and maybe through college, or maybe through their bosses, or their supervisors, or their management team, whatever the case may be. A man also likes to be heard too. I know that's a surprise to a lot of people, but when a man has something to say, he loves to be heard. So don't just blow him off. I just don't think he don't have feelings. Yes, we do have feelings. We do have emotions. We do think. We do feel shit. We're not robots. We're not numb. We do have feelings. It's unfortunate a lot of ladies don't want to hear it because they don't like their tone. They don't like how they communicate it. Sorry, ladies. This is the way we are. That's why when you get with that person, you understand that's just the way they are. Now, I don't know how you want us to tone it down. I mean, the volume? Is the volume too loud on us? There's nothing we can help. Some people just loud. I talk loud. This is the way I talk. I'm not going to change. Now, I could maybe switch up the words every once in a while that may help you. But for the most part, this is what you get. And most times, your men, that's what you get. That's probably what attracted you to him. How solid he sounds. He didn't sound like he's a withered ass flower. That ain't what you want. If that's what you want, go get it. But if you want a man, that dude's iron. He's rock. He's solid. He's down like the pavement. So.
Can I say one quick thing that I want people to leave with the whole tone thing? Take a rock, for example. A rock. It's dangerous or it's beautiful. They're both true. So you decide which one you want to focus on, and that's going to determine your feelings.
And well said. And Hank, I do agree with you. I want to say this to the women that are watching, especially when a man is in his emotions and the way he comes at you. You're not supposed to be competing with him and arguing with him back. You have to learn your place as a woman. Like even with my man, when he's talking to me, I have to sit and listen. I may be feeling my emotions on the inside and thinking whatever I'm thinking, but there's no reason for me to yell over him or try to get how I feel over what he's saying. My emotions are more important than what he has to say to me in that moment. So you have to learn how to be quiet, take it in when someone's speaking to you, even if you disagree. Even if you disagree, sit there and listen and take it in and really think about what the person's saying before you just go and react. You have to respond over reacting. Those are two very different things, and learn the difference, especially when you're communicating with a man. So I want to say that. And yeah, men are not women. Don't treat them like women. Don't expect them to speak to you like women because they're not women. And stop trying to change them into women, because if they were, you wouldn't want them. So I agree with you, Hank.
Yeah, I do want to put. Yeah, I was gonna say I want to put something else out there too. And I'm no expert in communication, but I have learned some things. I'm always learning. Like I say, I'm a student of life, as I like to call it. But if you have a man that's willing to open up to you, that's a big deal. You have to understand everybody's upbringing. I mean, some men never was able to communicate anything. I was one of those people. I kept things to myself, solved issues by myself, never really had to go turn to somebody. And I have a lot of people tell me that's trauma. You didn't have nobody to talk to. I said, well, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to figuring things out, not going to somebody trying to, hey, I got this problem. To me, it's just life, right? And I'm okay with it. But when you do get a man to open up to you, it's a big thing to him. You got to understand everybody's upbringing is different. In your family, you might have been the type of people that talk about everything. Y'all sit down and have these big discussions. Hold on. Damn.
Hope you
But
feel
yeah.
better, Hink. Or not Hink, I just read Hink. JR.
Yeah. Sometimes that breath is just get out of breath a little bit quicker. But you gotta understand everybody's upbringing is different. So if you are the type of, you gotta understand who you're dealing with and that person. So if he's not the type, you have to be able to accept that. It doesn't mean that he's not willing to grow in his communication. It's just not gonna happen overnight. And then same thing too, if you got somebody that speaks all the time, that's likes to have a conversation, you got to understand that that's how they was raised. That's what they do. So at some point, you guys got to get to a point where you meet and figure out how to communicate with each other and how to make it work, especially if you guys are in marriage or in a position to get married.
Yes, they are.
Oh,
And
He's
women,
right. It's a
oh,
compliment. It's a compliment when a man can talk to you, honestly. It's a compliment when a man can, tell you what's going on with him. And as women, we have to always remember that we were created to be helpmates, right? So am I helping you? That should always be on a woman's mind. Like, what am I helping them? What can I do to help? Because if you're not going to help, don't hurt them. That's what I go by. If I can't help you, I'm not going to hurt you. I refuse to do that.
And then
I don't know if we said this.
I just want to say one other thing too. And something else too is that sometimes you have people, you have some women say, sometimes I just want you just to hear me. I just want to be heard. But as men, we are problem solvers. So sometimes when we hear an issue, we want to solve it. So if the man chooses to say, hey, okay, I'll just be the ear in that moment, you have to create a time where you're to come back to revisit whatever it is or give him the opportunity. Because sometimes men want to say something, but they don't say anything because they want to, because they don't want the all like the headache, the drama, the yelling, the attitudes and stuff like that. Sometimes they just may minimize what it is that they want to express because they don't want that. But understanding communication, understanding how it goes, you have to know that your partner wants to be heard as well. Like Hank said, men do want to be heard, but men got to understand too that might be a respect issue. And some may have happened where she may have lost respect for you, or she may never have had respect for you. So there may be some bigger issue that might be at hand that you may not realize. So when it comes to communication, it's a big thing. I mean, you can unpack it in so many different ways, but you got to at least have the understanding and the will to want to at least have it and solve for it and fix it, because anybody can communicate with anybody if they're just willing to put forth the effort. So that's my spill on it. But go ahead, go.
Hey, JR, I got a question for you, man. From what you just said, I think I made a comment about it earlier in the chat. Like, you got to think about it. Like, I don't want to know what the women thinking I'm coming down on them, but you had to think about it, fellas. A lot of women weren't taught how to communicate effectively. That's something I had to realize. Some people just weren't and didn't know how to talk to people. Like, what do you think about that? Because a lot of times when you, like you said, I grew up in the same type of household, JR. You didn't have a say so. I grew up in the South. So as a kid, you didn't have a say so. You have no, anything. And you was always getting talked at, instead of talked to. My dad was in the military. So, so having that indoctrinated in his head, come home, he had that same mentality with me and my sister, So like when it comes to that, you ever think about things like that? Like when people in relationships, when they interact with men or women, that those people just weren't taught how to communicate effectively, weren't taught social skills and things like that, like we know now.
I heard what you said. I think it was cutting in and out, but what was the exact question you want me to answer?
Like basically when it comes to like when it comes to relationships, like knowing that people have to know that a lot of the people that their spouses or mates or they're in a relationship with weren't taught how to effectively communicate. They didn't know how to because they came up in households. Like when they parents or whatever, or whoever around them, adults talked at them instead of to them. Like, do you think that plays a part in certain relationships now because of how people weren't taught how to effectively communicate?
Yeah, I think everything from your experience and upbringing. I mean, your upbringing is your experience. And if nobody else never told you anything differently that you respected or that you looked up to, then you gonna just keep being you. And if you grow up one of those people that could never listen to nobody, then it's gonna carry over to your relationship. So you just got to be willing to open up to listen and understand that you're always a student. If you're one of those people that think you know everything, that's just how you're gonna move in every aspect of your life. Like there's something that happened within moments when they're happening that's gonna tell you, like, I don't want to hear this person. I'm just not gonna hear him. Or I don't want to hear this person, but I'm going to go against that grain. I'm going to get uncomfortable, and I'm going to still listen to him because I might hear some truth in it. So you got to be able to make that decision within that moment as far as what he's going to do. I always am open to it. That's why I go back and I play things over again, because sometimes I may miss something. I know I'm not perfect, and I know that a lot of times I may not be wrong. But then again, there may be a chance that you may be wrong. So I think it's important for you to revisit. And if you know you messed up, own up to it and had a conversation, because that says a lot. There are some people that are more advanced when it comes to communicating and listening and understanding. Like I just learned recently that when I talk, I'm always talking about myself and I'm never listening to what people are saying. And I didn't realize that, but Kelly was able to point that out to me. So now when I'm communicating with people, I'm responding to what they're saying, because people don't know I'm really like an introvert. Like I really just kind of sit back in the corner and just lay low.
Me too.
I put myself in these situations where I'm able to talk, I'm able to interact with people, I'm able to have conversations, because I think it's important. I think it's important because we all sometimes in our minds we hold ourselves hostage. But we got one life. You got to try to maximize in every area in your life. In the areas that you're not good at, you got to try to still go in that area. You got to visit that room, and you got to just try to gain as much experience as you can for it. So communication is a little bit more complex, and I think a lot of people don't understand it. But if you really look into it, man, it could be a beneficial thing, especially when it comes to every relationship that you have in your life.
I'll say this, man. This is for conversation and not confirmation, right? And a lot of the conversations that we tend to kind of have, around upbringing, I get that the first 18 years, you might have awesome parenting, you might have terrible parenting, or no parenting, or bad programming. But those first 18 years, that you have bad parenting, after that, it is incumbent upon you to unlearn those bad traits, those bad habits, little by little, day by day, year by year, and work through those bad habits, work through those necessary communication skills to unlearn the bad habits that you were kind of handed down growing up. And it takes time to do that, right? But I think that because of the age that you kind of get out into this dating market, or in this space that we're typically around and congregating around others and being in community and proximity to one another, you're supposed to have a lot of these things figured out. And in reality, a lot of people feel a little bit uncomfortable to talk about certain things, right? Or share certain things because they haven't really worked out through these sort of norms growing up, those conversation key points that allow them to find, personal self-development, growth. And those take time. I mean, honestly, those take time. And there's just a lot of people have a lot of unlearning to do. But I mean, you got to invest in yourself.
Let me say this. One a little hint for the ladies. When you ask a guy, because you got to communicate to him. When you ask a guy, you just need him to listen. Well, guess what? That's what he's going to do, and he's going to sit back there, stoic, no type of face look to him, and he's going to listen. But don't do this. Are you listening to me? Man, that's what you just asked me to do. I'm listening. That's why I'm not saying anything. I'm just paying attention. So why do you? Because to me, that's like an insult. Are you listening? Man, that's what you just asked me to do, right? That's what I'm doing. It's part of listening is not saying nothing. Now, if you ask me a question, I'll respond. But if you ask me to listen, then that's what I'm going to do. But don't turn around and sit there and ask me, are you listening to me? Stop. Ladies, don't do that.
Good point, Hank. And JR, what you just said, I was going to say to the women listening, your power is in your femininity. So that's in how you respond to a man. Like even in JR's case, I think it's so easy for him to receive from Kelly because she's saying it in a very feminine manner, in a feminine tone. She learned, a lot of things from her parents being married, of course, but she knows how to respond to a man. So she could get you to change your health, your diet. You even learning how to communicate more effectively because he's communicating with you. Now, if she was, being combative, you would have never received that from her. So I think women need to know to get the best out of your man, you have to come with that feminine energy. If you're trying to be masculine, matching his masculine energy, he's not going to listen. He's not going to even hear you. Like he shuts off immediately. It's like you're coming at him with masculine energy. He shut off. He don't want that. So if you want to get more out of him, come in your feminine energy and don't yell and scream and try to be heard. Like oh my goodness, this is a whole nother panel actually discussion. But be a feminine woman, and if you don't know how to do that, you have to learn the skill. So if you have to get coaching or whatever you need to do that. All right, I'm done.
I agree, Balance, and not use it. You'd be surprised. Some women do that because they know they can't keep a man. They do that because that is their wall up from not letting a man enter in. They can't receive a man, so they're going to do that in order to keep him at bay. And women don't admit that they do that, but that's a real thing.
Some do it on a conscious level, but then there are some that do it on a subconscious level. And that's why I say therapy and counseling is so necessary. And women wonder why they be in these cycles of failed relationships. Girl, it's you. Okay.
All right, before I get to these super chats real quick, I want to go ahead and make sure you guys tune in to Trigger Mike's show in the morning. It's Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Central Time. He'll be talking about the sexual court of law. So that'll be tomorrow at 10:30. It's already set up, so make sure you guys go ahead and set the reminder for yourselves. I'm curious as to what he's going to be talking about. So we got Eugene Steele Kane with the $5. Also, remember, says if emotions count for more than logic and communications, this is where communications can break down. Ruck, $10 says when communicating with an emotional woman, appeal to and acknowledge her emotions, then inject the logic. Uncle Step Daddy right here on the panel. Also a member 499 says most people, including women, were taught how to communicate effectively. Children who became adults mimic what they saw. Ed Hill 199 says Miss Precious won the Super Bowl MVP. 3 roses emojis. Honink 499 also a member says society went downhill when the participation trophy started and everyone could make the team. No losers. This is terrible. Ash, what's going on, brother? 1999. Constant supporter has donated some big bucks to the channel. Appreciate you, sir. Says Preach Hank last week was a teachable moment. Not just for these type of females, but for the young men, what to watch out for in relationships. I'll make you famous. Rest in peace, KS. I actually caught the show like a couple of days later. Like I actually went back to see everything unpacked and unfold, and I was just like, damn, I think as soon as I went off the panel, it really did unfold and went left. Marlon Nash just donated $4.99. Remember, says enjoy the show today. If there's some topics that you guys would like for us to talk about, hit that email, which is info@lapeef.com. Hit it there. You can also DM the Lapeef Network IG page and submit it there. But preferably email. I know some people. What's that noise? That's probably Hank. Yeah, Hank, I don't know what you got going on with that, man. Sound you still on AM frequency, brother. You guys still listen to AM? Anybody?
Most definitely.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, they still put some...
Let me ask you a question real fast.
Go ahead, sir.
What was your take? I know you started, but you got cut off with the super chat. What was your take on last week's show?
I was surprised, man, because I just didn't think that. I think somebody was like, you got to vet. It's just you never know what you're gonna get. This is a live show, so everybody's unpredictable. I mean, somebody can just balance. You can go crazy. You can just go crazy and just start and nobody know what happened. Could have had a rough day. Nobody knows. So I think people don't understand how when you have a live show, you just got to solve for the issue at that moment. So it just kind of caught me off guard. I did hear you apologize for whatever wrongdoing that you did, which I think. But I think that she was at a point where she couldn't control herself. She was looking for something in particular, and I think she wanted somebody to hold you accountable and wanted you to apologize to her. But I think that it's always an opportunity for both parties can do something better. But I think you handled the situation pretty well. You didn't go. I mean, you spoke a few days later. I don't think you went crazy or nothing like that. I think you held your composure. But it was just one of those situations where, like, man, she just had an off day that day. So that's how I took it.
I seen it coming.
Okay, we don't want to prejudge anybody, man. Uncle Stepdaddy, you want to just let's just have a conversation and see where it go.
No, I'm just meddling.
They said he see the future, huh?
I think when she was being combative with a couple things y'all had, but I was surprised that she went off and raised her voice and acted the way she acted. I think she was very passionate. I'm not gonna call her a name or anything. I think she's just very passionate about how she feels and what she thinks.
Yeah. So it's an interesting story, man. But we moved on from it. Like I say, we just try to do the best we can do, man. So sometimes things just go left. We'll have some moments on the Lapeef Network. We'll definitely have some moments where it's just like, oh, this happening
You
right
went
now.
viral again, JR. You went viral again.
But I mean,
And
people
you need to give me control of the mute button for some of these women.
No, don't go there. Don't start no mess. Balance, I mean, sometimes when things happening, just like if you have a situation outside of here, when things happen, a lot of people still don't know what to do. You can have all the training in the world. I've had training at jobs, and then a situation happened, and they just go left. Like this, what happened? We plan for this. This is the exit strategy. These are people you got to make sure, and they don't do it. So I'm not making no excuses for anybody. And I think what people don't understand is that even if I mute somebody, and I emailed, actually, I sent them a tweet, and they responded and said they're looking into it about having a master mute button. So even if you mute somebody, they can unmute themselves. So the next thing that you probably have to do is just take them down from the stream, because StreamYard doesn't have a master mute button. So for all the people out there that's looking for it's mute, you mute, then they unmute, you mute them. But I try to, we adults, right? I try to leave them a little bit of room until it get a little bit ridiculous. Once it started getting a little bit ridiculous, I couldn't hop back on there fast enough in order to try to stop the situations. I seen wasn't nothing going on. I knew Jay had an emergency situation, and I know that, I don't know what was going on. All I was just trying to do is get up there and try to see if we can.
You good, JR.
Yeah.
The way I see these panels is, to me, this is like your house. I'm not going to come in your house and disrespect it. I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah.
You invite me into your house to have a conversation, we're going to have a conversation. But I'm not going to come in here and disrespect your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't I think it's disrespectful if the host begins to say something and then you totally ignore. But I think when I first started the channel, I wanted everybody just be able to have a conversation, because we all have different perspectives, and at least we can hear what many other people may be thinking. But once you start being disrespectful and doing personal attacks, then that's when I think it's just a little bit out of line and getting loud, and the sign language, hitting the hands and all that stuff like that. I think it's out of control then. But it's definitely learn. I think we can always learn something from these things. I just don't want y'all to think everything's gonna be perfect up here. That's the beauty of having a live show, is you had these moments. It's not scripted. I had no idea what this woman was gonna do. Y'all may think I mean vet. How can you vet somebody for a situation that you can't create?
JR came back like, hey, like the dad, like, what you doing in that toilet?
Sure did, man. But hey, one thing I know about it, I've been watching y'all a while. You an intern like Jordan Pippen, man. So I wasn't worried about it.
Nah. I mean, but guess what? I mean, we created content for other people. It used to be a point, and I don't think y'all know, where people would come to the Lapeef Network and actually get their content. Like whatever happens, because when nothing going on in the entertainment world, that this is their content. You know, it was like a damn reality TV show. It seemed like it sometimes. Like, damn, what the hell is going on? But as you grow, you know, I don't look for those moments. You know, sometimes they just happen. When they happen, we deal with it. And it's like, okay, it is what it is. We move on from it because, again, you're running live shows. It's not like you pre-recording and then you can just cut out the bad stuff. So it's going to always be unscripted. It's going to always be live. We're going to keep bringing people up. I give a lot of people opportunity to be able to become who they are. You know, think about all the people that's been on and made some names for themselves. And it's been all because of the Lapeef Network. So y'all can give a little thanks every now and then. I know y'all gleaming right now, but you know, come back and just say thank you. That's all I ask for. I don't ask for much. Man. You know, some people.
You know, I ain't got a problem with breaking bread with you.
Yeah, I know that. I know that, Hank. And I got a lot of people that just down, but you know, don't forget where you came from. That's all I'm saying.
I'll come back. And Hank, I appreciate how you apologize. It was very masculine and you apologize, and I respect that a lot. And thank all you guys for being on the panel with me today on Super Bowl Sunday. This has been amazing and fruitful. I love conversations like this. So thank you guys.
Seriously, thank you guys.
Well, let me say, I didn't apologize to her. I don't feel like she deserved my apology. I apologize to the panel, everybody that was on here.
Yes, to us.
To JR, yeah. To me, no. She didn't deserve that. She deserved more. Out of respect for JR, I could take my composure and been respectful to the man. And I also know, I realize I have a son. My son doesn't need to see his father acting like this towards a woman. Even though the woman may have been a little reckless and a little extra with a tone in mouth, I still have to maintain frame. And that's what I the main reason I had to do what I had to do. Because at the end of the day, it's a bigger picture. And again, I called JR. I apologize to the man because I feel like I was wrong for what I've done. You know what I'm saying? If that means HR needs to suspend me for a show or two, I understand.
No, it ain't gonna be no suspension.
Okay. I got to soften the blow, baby. Jay, you see how I did? I try to soften the blow just in case the paperwork was coming.
You're not getting no pink slips, Hank.
Yeah.
Man,
hey,
I made it another week.
Like before we head out, because I know everybody has things going on outside of here as well when it comes to their individual platforms. So I'll go around real quick, man. Just go ahead and check your channel out. You know, let people know what you got going on. Luis, you got anything? Anything you want to put out there?
Me, you know, I'm an architectural designer out of the East Coast. So if you're ever looking for any renderings that are currently right behind me that you see kind of flashing, I do design work as well. So you can find me on my handle, my IG handle underneath my name.
All right, there you go. Hank in the basement. Go ahead, sir.
Well, man, I do a show on Mondays and Wednesdays. On Monday, I usually do a sports show. You know, they call us the Basement Sports Recap. And on Wednesday, man, just good man talk on Wednesday, man. So I just y'all come through it both times at 7 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Central. Just come hang out with me in the basement, man, and just chop it up, break bread with me. You know, have a good time. You can catch me on my IG at Hink75, or you can catch me on my show IG at the basement underscore. There's a lot of underscores in there, so just come to the Hink75. You go from there.
All right, there you go. Go ahead, Jay.
Nothing to promote. I'm still getting the channel back up and running, so nothing to promote at this time.
All right. Well, you can find Jay here, and I plan on doing some more work with Jay. Jay's a good dude, man. And I'm just talking about you, man. I said, man, Jay definitely is a team player. I can't wait to meet him in person, and man, I want him part of the team. So, still to you, Jay. And
appreciate that.
Whenever you get it going, just let me know how I can assist, man. Make sure we go ahead and push it. Go ahead, Uncle Stepdaddy. I know you always hear brothers supporting us, man. What you got going on?
I want to put myself. I would just tell y'all my IG. My IG is Mr. Suggs Barrio. It's got a bunch of different stuff on there. A little bit of serious things, a little bit of comedic relief or whatever like that. But support my security company. I have my own security company. I work for do security, Suggs Security and Transportation. My Cash App is Suggs Security. What else? My Facebook page is. I don't know why I'm saying my government name out there, huh?
Yeah, putting your Cash App and everything, huh?
I ain't putting it out there. You know, support black businesses, JR. Yeah,
I know
support
that's
black
right, dog.
businesses. Yeah, support black businesses, man.
You can
my
find
Facebook
me
is yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Ricardo the Run. So you can go follow me on there. I have a lot of stuff on there. You know, I post a lot of y'all videos and things like that. What else? That's pretty much it. My company is out of Mississippi, that's where I'm born and raised. In Texas. I live in Houston, so yeah, just support your boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna get me a YouTube station up too. My Uncle Stepdaddy thing. That's why I come on here and support you all. I would love to become a regular on here. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I get it. So I got to start off, get my feet wet first. So I'll
reach out to me, man. You know,
I'm for real, JR.
I'm all about I think my purpose is to bring people together, man. I think that's my real.
You gotta get your resume and your portfolio together.
Most definitely. I wouldn't mind getting my feet wet, you know what I'm saying, get myself out there because I done had too many people tell me, hey, bro, Uncle Stepdaddy need his own show. So, you know, I wouldn't mind breaking bread and being on here with y'all, with the ladies and things like that. I'll get at you. I'm for real because I'm ready to do this. You know what I'm saying? So,
man, just reach out to me, man, on the side and we'll talk.
Okay. I matter of fact, I'll hit you up in the DM on your IG because I follow you on IG.
No doubt, sir. Go ahead, Real Precious.
You guys can go over to the Real Precious on YouTube. I go live on Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday nights. Tomorrow I actually have an all men's panel. Hank is going to be a part of it. Sir Hale, Black Man Unfiltered, and then a host of Black men that want to speak and have something to say. So we're going to have a conversation tomorrow. Wednesday is usually ladies' night. Everyone is welcome though. And then on Sunday I speak about adoption. I was adopted, so I put out that information and just a different perspective that you don't necessarily hear every day in this space. So yeah, on Instagram I'm Real Precious Official.
All right, there you have it.
I love watching you too.
Hey, Precious, I want to be a guest.
Definitely subscribe to the channel, y'all. I'm gonna drop the link, and I'm telling you, so many men reached out. I'm gonna drop the link. It might be a part 1, 2 through 20. I don't know. It was a lot of men that reached out, so it might be. We might change Monday to. I used to do this thing back in the day on Facebook. It used to be Man's Day Monday, where it was just a man's perspective, and I might go back to that on Mondays, depending on how tomorrow goes and what the outreach is. So definitely subscribe to the channel and DM me and let me know.
I'll support. I'll come on.
Okay.
Go ahead, Balance.
Yeah. And thank you for keeping a safe space for men, Precious, because that's necessary in these YouTube streets today. So everyone, my YouTube is Balancing Codes. I consider it a pro-family, anti-feminist page. I just got my new equipment, so I'll be going live every Saturday on my YouTube page. And thank you guys for supporting me. You guys have been so loving for the most part. And yeah, I hope to also continue to grow from a lot of the comments that I see here too. And thank you for having me, JR.
All right, no problem. I'm glad you guys were able to shout your handles and everything you got going on out there. Let's change the narrative, man. I know we got the narrative of Black folks always keeping secrets and not telling people how to get and how to get to it. Let's change that narrative. Let's make sure we support each other, man. A lot more love than hate out here. Let's support the platform, stop all this arguing, and let's just get to it, man. It's an opportunity for everybody. If you're interested, man, maybe we can do some work. Just email info@lapeef.com and I'll have HR reach out to you. So with that being said, great show, family. Who y'all got for the Super Bowl, real quick? Who y'all got?
Philly.
Yeah,
Eagles,
I hate to
man.
say it, but Eagles, man. Hate to say it, man. But NFC.
Okay, so y'all, everybody goes for
Eagles. It's a close, but I got by a close margin though.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a lower scoring game, and it's gonna be close.
Yep.
Okay. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get up out of here. Enjoy yourself. I want to say thank you. Make sure y'all follow them. Make sure y'all check out Precious show tomorrow. Should be epic. I'm gonna see if I can try to pull up. With that being said, let's go ahead. Have a great night, y'all. Y'all be safe out there. No drinking and driving, y'all. Make sure y'all put y'all seatbelts on too.
I know it's
Be
right.
safe,
Right
y'all.
on there.
Y'all make sure you hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the greatest network ever, the greatest show ever, the Lapeef Network. Also, make sure you guys follow the Lapeef Experience page as well. Trigger Mike Show is live tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. The Sexual Court of Law. Make sure y'all share the stream with somebody if they need it. Shout out to the Green Gang. I see you. Mr. BX87, Jordan Landry, Big Bad Bull. Greatness to work.
Wave. I'm in it for keepsake. In the field with the cleat lace. Beat fruit with the bare face and a slick tongue. That's what she say. She look good. She a big tease when she bite lip with the wink face. Hella bad when she throwing it back. She bring that my way for the team play. For Pete's sake, I'm above average, I patted my stack. I gotta matter what he say. I'm the 2010 young LeBron James with the backboard, type of bad boy. Hold it down for the task force. If I run his faith, then you ask for it. Niggas cross need to laugh more. I keep it 100 on dashboard. The live show needed passport, cause the beat bounced to the cap torn. Feel like I live it and fast forward, but I asked for it. Misfit got a quick lit on a crash course from the tattered garment to the tabloid. Fuck how I live it into existence. I be ahead of myself, but the bank account did jump up a couple figures. But like nobody could fuck with us. I'm a flight risk. I play among the stars in the Hollywood Hill, the space station couldn't even get in touch with me. Praise faith that I stuck with it. Wave. No, I really can't complain. Everything is straight. I've been on the wave. With everything I say, turn into the real thing. I tell her run it up, cause you know it ain't a thing. We made it out the slums, words on the page. Everything is straight. I've been on the wave. With everything we say, turn into the real thing. I've been living like I'm famous. Like I don't show my face, as I'm jumping on the stage. Like I'm living in a daydream. Lost in imagination. She only want me when she fade. She couldn't tell me I'm a fade. She ain't told no lie, she love it when I catch my cadence. She gone off the deep end, pull up every week, and I hate to let it down, but I'm in a fast life, so they never slowing me down. Heartbreak, dropping like you know, sleep well. How you switch up, you always help me down. Wonder why I turn into a cold of me now. It could be worse, right? I got where I'm at without no work-life balance. You tell me that it's love, but I'm knowing that it's madness. Squad with me, God, cut us from the same fabric. No, I really can't complain. Everything is straight. I've been on the wave, but everything I say turn into the real thing. Tell them run it up, you know it ain't a thing. We made it out the songs with the words on the page. Everything is straight. I've been on the wave, but everything I'm saying turn into the real thing.